Chapter 457. Well, little Pepper, you misunderstood. Lu Qianqian did not wait for him to explain, and simply walked out of the guest room, while Lin Muan quickly put on his clothes and explained without even tidying his hair. I didn't mean it just now. I was just teasing you. Moreover, I'm the one at a disadvantage. Why are you angry? I'm angry. You're a man, but why is your butt perkier than a woman's? You don't understand. There's no perkier, but if you don't squat. Naturally, they sat down on the sofa in the living room and took out some wine, each of them having a glass, just like when they celebrated Qianqian's birthday at the hotel. Lin Muan, study hard, and improve every day when you go back to school tomorrow. Lin Mu, and put down his glass, and held Lu Qianqian's hand with a serious look on his face. Promise me that you'll rely on me no matter what happens, okay? Although I'm not like the crown prince who can pluck the moon from the sky for Shaoqi, I'll do my best to fulfill all your wishes. You're so poor. Lu Qianqian laughed and hugged Lin Muan. Don't run away from school like you did this time. I hope that you'll be safe and happy in school. Don't drink anymore, silly. Lin Muan was going back to school tomorrow and could not reek of alcohol, which was why he watched as Lu Qianqian got himself drunk. Mama Lu took a deep breath as she watched them from upstairs. She really liked Muan and was willing to love him like a son, as long as he could keep giving everything to Qianqian like this. Meanwhile, in another courtyard, when Mu Qiqi got home, she kept pestering Sheng Xiao to tell her what he saw at the funeral. Sheng Xiao told Mu Qiqi even as he took off his clothes. Those uncles of the Lu family all went to Lu Qianqian's father's lawyer. It's clear that Lu Qianqian's father left in a hurry and left nothing behind, and all his assets are being distributed by the lawyer according to the law. And with those people scrambling to find a lawyer, we can't rule out the possibility that they forged a will. You've already sent someone to keep an eye on them. Mu Qiqi was surprised by Sheng Xiao's efficiency. Sheng Xiao smiled teasingly at the little thing, then picked her up and threw her into the bathtub. Once something happens, you have to find the contradiction in this matter. The magic weapon to not give the enemy a chance to live is that you can think calmly. There was no telling what Sheng Xiao's brain was made of. Before you realize it, he has already discovered the problem. By the time you discover the problem, he will have already deployed it hundreds of years ago. There really was a gap between people. Whose side is the lawyer on? Lu Qianqian's father had hired him for so many years because he trusted in his character. Sheng Xiao replied. But there are exceptions to everything. Moreover, Lu Qianqian's father is no longer around. If the lawyer helped forge the will, it would be a good show. Mu Qiqi looked at Sheng Xiao, knowing that the evil water in his heart was beginning to overflow again. So, she hooked her arms around his neck and rubbed herself against him coquettishly. I know you're putting so much effort into the Lu family's matter, because you care about me. Why else would the great CEO of Zhongting spend so much time poking his nose into other people's business? Amidst the thick mist, Sheng Xiao lifted Mu Qiqi's chin and told her seriously, if not for you, I wouldn't care about anyone else's life. The next day, Lin Muan left the Lu family at 8 in the morning. Lu Qianqian was still sleeping soundly when he left, perhaps because of the alcohol. Lin Muan shook his head helplessly and covered her with a blanket from the room. Then, he turned and left reluctantly, although he was not confident that Lu Qianqian would be the first to tell him the next time something happened to her. Mama Lu made breakfast for Lin Muan and saw him out of the house. Still, when she saw Lin Muan's figure leaving, she was about to turn back home when she suddenly heard someone honking a car horn from the other side of the house. Mama Lu glanced at the person inside the car and realized that she did not recognize him. That was when old Lin stepped out of the white car and came to Mama Lu. I'm Lin Muan's grandfather. Mama Lu's confidence faltered. She knew that the Lin family did not like the Lu family, and yet she kept Lin Muan busy for the Lu family. Greetings. What are you? Mind if I sit in the garden? Clearly, Grandpa Lin had seen Lin Muan leave before appearing in front of Mama Lu. He had calculated the time. Mama Lu could not refuse, so she invited old Lin to her courtyard. What would you like to drink? There's no need. I'll leave after a few words. I know that the uncles of the Liu family are eyeing you and your daughter covetously, trying to snatch your shares and inheritance rights. I can help you stabilize your position in Liu Holdings. But Mama Liu guessed that the old man must have a condition for bringing that up. But your daughter must completely cut off all contact with my grandson. He is the only grandson of the Lin family, and now, instead of being a young master, he has become a cop and learned how to fight. As a grandfather, I can't stand it. If I help you stabilize Liu Holdings, and you help me get my grandson back to the Lin family, would you agree to this deal? Mama Liu was already prepared for old Lin to say something like that. But, old mister, I thank you for your intention to help me and my daughter, but I don't think we need it. I don't quite understand. I just want my grandson back, and the Liu family would get what they want. Why can't you agree to such a simple deal? Old Lin questioned Mama Liu. Or is it that the Liu family is still trying to use the marriage with the Lin family? I just don't want to go against my daughter's wishes and do anything she doesn't want to do. Mama Liu answered old Master Lin sincerely. You can help me or make things difficult for me, but I won't make a decision for my daughter because she's also an independent person. This is the dignity I'm giving her. You should know that by rejecting me today, you might be rejecting your only chance to win. Old Lin did not say much to Mama Liu and rose from his chair. The Lin family will never marry a second-hand good into our family. The Lin family is pure and clean, and we don't want any stain. Mama Liu was a little angry when she heard that. After all, everyone was protective of their children. It seems that Elder Lin is not as open-minded as the young Muan. It's easy for one to develop the habit of being the best in the world at his age. I only hope that Elder Lin will not have any regrets in this life. Please leave. Chapter 458. Sheng Xiao had said that he would think of a way to find out if third brother was running away from the marriage. And if he did, he would get his parents out of the Sheng family as well. However, third brother promptly refused. You've set a precedent for leaving the Sheng family. The old man hates the betrayal of the Sheng family. And while I could hide from him, my parents might not want to change their lifestyle. That's why I'm not taking the risk. There's nothing wrong with marrying a fool, and life might become easier from now on. Third brother. Mu Chichi called out to third brother over the phone. It's a matter of a lifetime. Think about it carefully. Actually think about it. Isn't Miss Hu innocent as well? She's jumping into a pit as big as the Sheng family. Forget it, Sheng Xiao simply said. I've worried about you for nothing. Third brother laughed calmly over the phone. The people outside can laugh at me for marrying a fool, but the two of you would never bully my little wife. Is yours as little as mine? Sheng Xiao retorted. Mu Chichi promptly punched Sheng Xiao's chest. Couldn't this man say something nice about her? Either way, third brother refused to run away from the marriage. Although Mu Chichi found it a pity, everyone had their own choices. Maybe things aren't as bad as we think. After all, Miss Hu isn't born a fool, and she might be cured later on. Mu Chichi still held on to her beautiful wishes. That was what Sheng Xiao found most rare about Mu Chichi. Even after seeing every ugliness in the world, she still maintained the purity in her heart. There was no telling if her optimism came from Shen Jianchuan. Still, one had to admit that the heavens favored optimistic people. 2 days later, old Sheng arranged for third brother to meet with Miss Hu. Due to Hu Rant's uniqueness, maids were required to accompany her whenever she left the house. But it was different this time. The Hu family wanted to see if third brother could accept and take care of Hu Ran, and hence had the maids escort Hu Ran to the door later. Afraid that third brother would run away, the old man was not at ease leaving him alone. That was why he had the butler accompany him and bring Miss Hu to the Sheng family as a guest. That way, the Sheng family could get to know her as soon as possible. Third brother had no objections and got the butler to drive the car, and the two of them arrived at the entrance of the Hu family's house. A moment later, the people of the Hu clan walked out from the iron gate. The servant led the innocent-looking Hu Ran to the window and greeted third brother respectfully. Third young master, please take care of our young mistress. She doesn't have any taboos, and she would express herself if she doesn't like it. After all, no matter how weak he was, he still had the intelligence of an 11-year-old. not a few years old. Third brother nodded and got out of the car himself, escorting his future wife to the car. Actually, Huran was very delicate. Her small face was very exquisite. Although her brain wasn't good, the Hu family had taken good care of her. There wasn't much problem with her dressing. Miss, can you play with this little brother today? Xiao is very busy today, and may not be able to accompany Miss to make a dress for the princess. Huran turned and saw third brother. She blinked and nodded. Well, does little brother know how to make dresses? I don't, but I could learn from you. Third brother quickly replied. Huran thought about it and agreed. All right. But Xiao, you can't be busy for too long. Let's go, butler. Third brother instructed. Although Miss Hu was a child, it was clear that she wasn't cunning or willful. If that was all there was to it, third brother believed that he could completely accept such a wife. The butler watched them from the rearview mirror. To tell the truth, he felt that it was a pity for third brother. Over the last 2 days, news of the marriage alliance between the Sheng family and the Hu family had spread like wildfire. Everyone was mocking third brother for having to wait upon a foolish young mistress. He should have had a beautiful life, but because he displeased the old man, his entire life was thrown away. Young master, why don't you apologize to old master when you go home? This marriage is really... Shoo, third brother said flatly. Let's talk in private. Miss Hu didn't do anything wrong. The butler sighed and nodded. Are you talking about me, little brother? Huran looked at third brother and asked innocently. Right now, she was holding her favorite toy in her hand. What materials do you need to make a dress? I don't know either. Why don't you tell me and let's go buy it first? Third brother diverted Huran's attention. He only wanted to treat Huran as a patient, not a fool. That was why he did not want to talk to Huran like an adult. He wanted to treat her as an equal. Otherwise, he would feel even worse if they built an unequal relationship right from the start. All right, I'll bring you there. Huran's attention was indeed diverted. What other games do you like to play aside from making clothes for princesses, Xiaoran? Comics. Huran quickly raised her hand and answered. And crafts. Just as expected, those were things that little girls liked. Third brother nodded and told the butler. Go and look for those places. Then buy some beautiful comics and some finished products. Sigh. The butler sighed. Got it. Forget it. I'll pick them myself when we get there. Huran's attention was not on third brother at all, and she deliberately pretended not to be paying attention to their conversation. Even so, Huran was quite satisfied with third brother's impression of him. At the very least, he was not aloof or arrogant, and did not humiliate her on sight. That was rare enough. Still, third brother might have been putting on an act, since it was their first meeting. That was why she would have to put on a good show when they reached the Sheng family to test the man's true nature, and whether he was good or bad. After all, it was difficult to hide a person's deep-rooted bad habits under unexpected circumstances. Soon, they arrived at the Sheng family's residence. Although the Sheng family appeared to welcome Miss Hu, who was about to arrive, they were secretly thinking that she was just a fool. Was there a need for such a grand welcome? Still, with old Sheng around, no one dared to say a word. When they got out of the car and saw so many people in the Sheng family, they hid behind third brother by reflex. Why are there so many people, little brother? Don't worry. We won't meet them. Third brother promptly led them to the Sheng family's golf course. Huran was delighted at the sight of the endless grassland, and simply sat on the ground, taking out the comics third brother had bought for her. Little brother, can I read some comics here for a while? Of course. Just tell me right away if you're cold. Chapter 459. Second sister-in-law. Look at Miss Hu's silly face. Sixth brother whispered from behind. She really feels sorry for third brother. Gu Xiling looked at Huran. She did not expect the daughter of the Hu family to be so silly. She was in her early 20s, and yet she still liked little girls' toys. It was likely that third brother's duty from now on would be to take care of the little girl. Third brother said nothing, and simply walked up to the old man. Miss Hu is afraid of strangers, so you don't have to wait here. Just do what you have to do. The old man gave him a meaningful look and asked, Are you sure you can take care of a girl like that? Whether I'm willing or not, I don't seem to have a say in this matter. If that's the case, you shouldn't talk about such nonsense in the future, grandfather, or I might think you're rubbing salt on someone else's wound. Since you're getting along well with Miss Who, take good care of her. Ask the butler if you need anything. Third brother nodded coolly. I'll set you free when you're married. You know what I'm afraid of, third brother. Eighth brother has already called me, so the things you worry about won't happen. With that, third brother had the butler prepare beautiful desserts and blankets. Soon he returned to Huran's side. Third brother felt strangely relaxed when he saw the girl laughing heartily at her manga. Actually, wasn't it a blessing to have such a wife? At least he did not have to be cautious or scheme against her. Although it was a little troublesome to take care of her, he did not feel tired. Why are you laughing, little brother? Well, tell me, Xiaoran. Am I more handsome, or the little brother in the manga? Third brother asked Huran leisurely. You. Third brother smiled again at that. After all, how could he not be overjoyed after being praised? After reading manga on the grass for a while, Huran began making clothes for the princess. Third brother watched as she skillfully cut and drew, and suddenly understood the joy those little things brought to Huran. Nearby, Gu Xiling smiled meaningfully. It seemed that her position in the Sheng family would not be shaken by any other daughter-in-law for the time being. With Huran's intellect, she would probably be toyed to death. Soon it was lunchtime for the Sheng family. The butler invited the two, who were lying on the grass, to the dining room. Third brother put down the handmade dress and asked Huran, Xiaoran, are you hungry? Suddenly she pouted and nodded. I'm hungry. Then let's go eat first and then come back, okay? No, Daddy said that we must finish what we started. I want to finish first. Little big brother, you go eat first. Then, I'll help you take them out to eat, okay? No, Daddy said that we have to eat in the dining room. Little brother, go ahead first. Xiaoran will be there soon. However, the Sheng family could not simply pick up their chopsticks before Huran arrived at the dining table. That was why third brother stayed outside with Huran. At her pace, it would take an hour for her to finish the dress. Then, Gu Xiling came out to urge the two of them. Third brother, it's time to eat. You guys eat. Leave it for us. Third brother said directly. The whole family is waiting for you. You should be considerate of your family. Moreover, you shouldn't accommodate Miss Who in her current situation. Children are easy to coax, and I'll do it if you can't. At Gu Xiling's words, third brother rose from the grass and gestured for Gu Xiling to give it a try. Gu Xiling shook her head and crouched in front of Huran. Miss Who, the dining room has prepared a lot of good food for you. Shall we go in and eat first? I don't want to. She suddenly refused decisively. I'll cook with you after you're done. I told you I don't want to. Huran's voice suddenly became louder. You're so annoying. Go away. I don't want to see you. At those words, Huran suddenly turned with the needle, startling Gu Xiling. Gu Xiling promptly stood up, only to be pushed back onto the ground. You really have a screw loose. Third brother promptly crouched down at that, and helped Huran up, while warning Gu Xiling, second sister-in-law, mind your words. Third brother, there's no one else here. There's something wrong with Miss Who's head, so you don't have to act. Tell me honestly, do you want to reject this marriage? I just want to say that Xiaoran meant no harm just now. She didn't want to poke you with the needle, so you don't have to use so much strength. Third brother, are you really going to let this go? Third brother did not answer, but Huran suddenly burst into tears. Her cries startled everyone in the Sheng family, especially Grandpa Sheng. At that, Gu Xiling quickly told third brother, don't talk nonsense to grandfather. What happened? The old man promptly asked third brother. Did you bully Miss Who? It's not little brother. That woman pushed me. Huran yelled at the old man, pointing at Gu Xiling. It's not that, grandfather. Miss Who tried to poke me with the needle just now, but I only came to ask them to eat. I meant no harm, and it was a natural reaction. I didn't do it on purpose. I just hoped that second sister-in-law would speak with propriety in the future, and not do anything that would tarnish your status. With those words, third brother helped Huran up and said softly, come inside with little brother and wash your face, all right? You'll look like a clown if you keep crying. Okay. Huran nodded. It was only after the two had left that the old man told Gu Xiling. Miss Hu is certainly lacking in the head, but you shouldn't have been so obvious. Wouldn't the Sheng family be shamed if she told mom and dad about it? Grandfather, I really didn't do it on purpose. Be careful next time. Why would I hold a grudge against a retard? Gu Xiling said, forcing herself to swallow the word retard. The old man turned to glare at her, instructing her carefully. When Miss Hu marries into the Sheng family, you have to set a good example as second sister-in-law and take good care of her. Yes, grandfather. In truth, Gu Xiling was implying that she should take care of a retard? Maybe in her next life. Back in the room, third brother was helping Hu Ran wipe her face, while Hu Ran asked him curiously, Little brother, that big sister is so fierce. Does she bully you often? So Xiao Ran, are you trying to avenge brother? Third brother asked. Yes. Hu Ran nodded firmly. No need. Just stay away from her when you see her next time. That way you won't get hurt, got it? Third brother instructed her seriously. What if big sister bullies you? She wouldn't dare. Hu Ran suddenly laughed foolishly, although she was sneering inwardly. Gu Xiling was clearly no pushover, but it was fortunate that her future husband did not seem to like second sister-in-law. Chapter 460. For Xiao Ran's safety, don't bother that big sister when we get out, alright? But what if she does? Hu Ran asked innocently. Then tell me. I'll protect you. Hu Ran clapped and cheered at his words. You're a good man, big brother. It was not that he wanted to be a good man, but he had no other choice. Well, how about Xiao Ran marry big brother and be his wife? Wife? Does that mean wife, mom? Third brother put down the towel and put his hands on either side of Hu Ran's body. Actually, there's nothing good about marrying me. I don't have much say in this family. And you might be bullied by second sister-in-law in a place where I can't see. Hit her back, big brother. Hit whoever bullies you. Third brother chuckled and carried Hu Ran down from the sink. It was clearly their first meeting, but he was very patient with her. In fact, it was just like how a brother would treat his sister. All right, let's go out for dinner. Hu Ran nodded and took third brother's hand on her own like a child seeking safety. Third brother held her slender right hand, feeling that it was cold and did not have any body temperature. When they returned to the Sheng family's dining room, the Sheng family were all sitting upright. Xiao Ran, come and eat, said Grandpa Sheng kindly. Hu Ran looked at Gu Xiling warily and threw a childish tantrum, pointing at Gu Xiling and telling everyone, she pushed me just now. I don't want to see her. Old Sheng turned to Gu Xiling, who could only rise from her chair. You guys eat then. In fact, Gu Xiling's lungs were about to explode in anger where no one else could see. Old Sheng was actually making her disappear from the dining table, because of that retard? After all, she had been treated the same way before she married into the Sheng family. Why did everything change now that she was a Sheng? Still, there was plenty of time. Since Miss Hu's brain was not working, she would have the chance to take revenge in the future. After lunch, third brother brought Hu Ran back to the grass, and the two sat on the ground to finish the rest of the dress. Hu Ran had a great day, but was naturally very tired. When third brother sent Hu Ran home, it was already 8 o'clock at night. Hu Ran slept in the car, her head resting on third brother's shoulder. In fact, the girl was quite simple. All her stubbornness was directed at those who treated her badly. In no time, the two arrived at the Hu family's doorstep, and Chief Hu sent someone to receive them. Little brother, when are we going to play again? Third brother waved her off and had the chauffeur drive. Miss, did the little brother bully you today? Xiao asked after Hu Ran returned home. Hu Ran shook her head. Little brother always plays with me. He treats me even better than dad. Ran. And only then did he send her home. Xiao, go out. I'm going to take a bath. After entering the bathroom, Hu Ran no longer needed anyone to accompany her, so she sent Xiao out. It was only when the door to her room was closed that she relaxed and lay down in the bathtub. It seemed that her fiancé was very reluctant about the marriage, and simply had his life interfered with by his elders. Of course, most people would think a man useless if he could not make his own decisions. Even so, Hu Ran was aware of the Sheng family's situation. The crown prince, Sheng Xiao, had spent a lot of effort to free himself from the Sheng family. That was why the common folk could only resign themselves to fate. Moreover, the third young master of the Sheng family did not speak ill of her, even if he was reluctant. Even when no one was around, he did not humiliate her, and was considered a gentleman. That was why she was a little less worried about the marriage. At the very least, she had to escape from the dragon's pool to stay alive. She was wary of the second sister-in-law of the Sheng family and her vicious stepmother. But she was not afraid of a rich young lady like Gu Xiling. Was there anything more chilling than a stepmother trying to kill you over and over again? I can only say, third young master, please take care of me in the future. The fact that Hu Ran was determined to play dumb proved how cruel she was to herself. Still, the advantage of that was that she stopped her father from obeying her stepmother in everything. As long as her stepmother wanted something, Hu Ran would cry and throw a tantrum, and her father would be afraid. Soon, third brother returned to the Sheng residence, and was greeted by Gu Xiling, who had a sour look on her face. I'm afraid the Sheng family would only get more lively in the future. They would marry a fool and build a children's playground. Third brother was very tired, and did not intend to talk to Gu Xiling. However, Gu Xiling blocked his way. Third brother, I really didn't know that you have such tender feelings for the fairer sex. You're a dignified daughter of a wealthy family. Why are you humiliating someone who's been injured? Gu Xiling hugged herself and answered third brother. Because I hate being around retarded people. Then you should go to grandfather. With that, third brother walked past Gu Xiling and returned to his room. However, Mu Qiqi's phone call came just as he lay down on his bed. How is it, third brother? Did you see Miss Hu today? Yes. It's not that bad, but it's not that good either. Third brother replied. I've never tried it before, and there might be a lot of things to worry about living with someone like that. Is it because Miss Hu is being stubborn? The family who chose her, and then called her retarded, and insulted her with all their words. Mu Qiqi really did not understand. Was the old man in charge of fishing? Was he going to ignore the fish when they came ashore? Do you regret it now? Third brother thought about Hu Ran's face. It was not that bad, but she would definitely be humiliated by the Sheng family when she married into the Sheng family. I feel guilty. Let's just take it one step at a time. Actually, third brother, I have a feeling that Miss Hu's head would recover. Third brother laughed at that. Whatever. He would take good care of Hu Ran when she was here, and live his own life when she was not. With that thought, he felt much more at ease. When Sheng Kai returned home that night, he found his wife in his room and asked her, Did you see Miss Hu? I did. She's really scary. I wonder why grandfather is torturing third brother. Are you sure she's retarded? Chapter 461. Since he was going to marry third brother, he would have to thoroughly investigate all 18 generations of the Hu family's ancestors. Miss Hu's accident happened 2 years ago. Before that, she was just a little frail, but she was exceptionally intelligent, excelling in her studies and graduating with a degree in journalism, winning many awards. A girl like her would definitely match third brother's status if she was sane. As for Hu Ran's stepmother, she had married into the Hu family 4 years ago. She was a singer who had been in the entertainment industry for years, and finally married a real estate tycoon. That was her wish, and she would have someone to rely on for the rest of her life. Hu Ran's stepmother was in her 30s, and logically speaking, marrying into a rich family at that age would mean giving birth to a child and ensuring her own status. However, Hu Ran's stepmother had not done anything over the last 4 years. The secrets of the rich and powerful seemed very mysterious, but in fact, to get to the bottom of it, it was nothing more than desire. As for third brother's fiancée, Sheng Xiao read through the information about the Hu family, and then destroyed it. The announcement of the Lu family's inheritance was tomorrow. That night, Mama Lu could not sleep well as she lay in bed. In the end, she went to Lu Qianqian's room. Daughter, are you asleep? Lu Qianqian was sitting on her bed with her phone. When she saw her mother at the door, she patted the spot beside her. Come here. Are you talking to Muan? Yes. He wants me to tell him about the results of the inheritance tomorrow. Lu Qianqian replied. Mama Lu sat on her daughter's little bed and leaned against her. Tell me the truth. Do you like Muin? Mom. Lu Qianqian felt awkward at once. Why are you asking me that all of a sudden? Mom used to object to your puppy love, especially when you liked Duan Shaoan. Although we are family friends with the Duan family, I'm really worried about his character. But since you've fallen for him wholeheartedly, I had no choice but to watch you get hurt. From then on, I swore to myself that I would never allow a man to hurt you again, especially when you are only 20 years old. But Muin, that child, I really have nothing to say. He's not much older than you. But when your father passed away, he was able to shoulder everything. He thought of everything for us. If it wasn't for him, I don't know how bad the funeral would have been. From this, it can be seen that this child is a reliable man. Indeed, the people from the Lin family came to me and asked me to sever the relationship between the two of you. But I know my daughter. Muin is a good child. I don't want you to say goodbye to each other without even trying. Besides, I don't think that returning to the Lin family is the best choice for Muin. He won't be happy. So, if you really like each other, I can help you. Hearing her mother's words, Lu Qianqian hugged her mother warmly. I will also try my best to protect Mommy and Lin Muin. So, can you tell me that you really like him? Lu Qianqian could not answer, recalling every bit of time she spent with Lin Mu, and over the last few days, she felt that many things had gone beyond the boundaries of friendship. Even so, she was still careful, afraid that Lin Muin would despise her. Actually, I'm telling you, I'm very strong. She put Lin Muin's suggestion into practice and fought for the support of the board of directors. If Qianqian could not shoulder the heavy responsibility now, she would assume the position of chairman, because that was the only way she could better protect her daughter. Actually, I really like Lin Muin, Lu Qianqian said, leaning into her mother's arms. But Mommy, I'm really scared. I know that it would be very difficult for me to be with Lin Muin, and I'm afraid that I would bring disaster to him. Mama Lu reached out to stroke her daughter's hair at that. You have to be brave. Look at Muin. Isn't he holding on despite everything? As long as there is life, as long as you think it's worth it, what's the harm in fighting for it with all your might? Mommy, can we really be happy? Let's try. As a matter of fact, Lin Muin had a hard time in the academy that night. He tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. Suddenly, he received a message from Lu Qianqian. Are you asleep? Can't sleep. My mind is a little messed up. Lu Qianqian thought about it as she stared at the screen, and her mother's advice suddenly popped into her mind. What are you thinking about? Lin Muin rested his head on one hand and thought for a moment before answering. Thinking about you. Then he felt very uneasy. His heart was thumping wildly. Unexpectedly, Lu Qianqian replied after a while. Me too. When he saw those 3 words, Lin Muin's mind went blank. He suddenly sat up in bed, as if he couldn't believe what he had just heard. So he sent another message. What I just said was, I miss you. What I replied was that I miss you too. Little Pepper, you. Go to sleep, Muin. There are some things I don't want to say so casually. Are you free tomorrow? Let's meet. Come to the police academy at noon tomorrow. The inheritance is in the afternoon, right? Yes. In fact, Lin Muin wanted to tell Lu Qianqian personally, and not so casually. The 2 young people cherished each other so much, and yet were so careful. In the past, they had been able to hide their feelings for each other and remain friends. But after Father Lu's death, their relationship was greatly impacted. Especially Lu Qianqian. She could not keep up the pretense that she did not like Lin Muin, and when she thought that the man she loved might suddenly disappear. And what about Lin Muin? He didn't even want to be a young master. He didn't even want his family. He wanted to be a police officer and attend the police academy. What was he doing it for? Wasn't it to protect Lu Qianqian? Over the last few days, when he saw how fragile Lu Qianqian was, he wished that he was the one going through it all. Even if he did not say it now, he might not be able to hide it for long. Tomorrow? Lin Muin closed his eyes holding his phone. There was no telling if the little Pepper would back down at the last minute. In fact, he had already made up his mind that as long as Lu Qianqian did not give up, he would risk his life to protect their relationship. He was confident that he could stay by Lu Qianqian's side through every obstacle in this world. Old Lin would never know or understand that he was trying so hard to stop them, but he was actually trying to bring the hearts of the two young people closer. Chapter 462. Late at night, Sheng Xiao was still in his study. Mu Qiqi came out of the shower and did not see anyone, so she wrapped herself in a bathrobe and went to the study. Seeing that Sheng Xiao was still on the phone, she quietly hugged him from behind and rubbed herself against his back with her sweet scent. Sheng Xiao caught her moving little hand with one hand while holding the phone steady. That's the arrangement for tomorrow. You can adapt to whatever the Lu family wants to do. Mu Qiqi heard that it was about the Lu family and waited for him to hang up before she said, "You're not sleeping so late just to help me settle the matter with the Lu family?" From a businessman's point of view, tomorrow is also an investment. I'm helping the Lu family now in the hope that they can pay me accordingly, Sheng Xiao said, pulling her to him and hugging her. You're really a cunning businessman. But is the Lu family's matter not a problem? Problem? Sheng Xiao chuckled. Even if there are 10 more Lu families, I can still crush them, let alone a few troublemaking shareholders. Knowing her man's ability, Mu Qiqi tugged at his sleeves in relief. If that's the case, let's rest. Lifting the little one's chin, Sheng Xiao smiled faintly. You want it? No, it's my period. Remembering the date, it was indeed in the next few days. Sheng Xiao let Mu Qiqi go and waited until they were lying on the bed. Only then did he reach out his warm hand to massage Mu Qiqi's lower abdomen. Thanks to Fifth Aunt's help, Mu Qiqi rarely had problems with her period. She almost never had any menstrual cramps or migraines. Of course, that was because the man beside her was so considerate and meticulous even in her life. Xiao Xiao, you're a CEO. Don't you think it's beneath your dignity to do something like that for a girl? Who are you to me? Sheng Xiao asked in return. Woman, you ungrateful thing. What if I did that to someone else? Could he just throw her on the moon? It was only because it was this little one that he was so willing to dote on and pamper her. But even though I know you're powerful, I still want to do something for you. After Sheng Xiao heard that, he stopped massaging her with his right hand and hugged her tightly. You being alive like this is the greatest contribution you can make to me. I can still contribute to you in other ways. Puzzled, Sheng Xiao was about to ask, but the little thing had already moved, its body squirming agilely. Sheng Xiao felt his entire body tense. Where did this thing learn that from? But it had to be said that it was very useful for men. After a night of trepidation, Lin Muan and Lin Mu, and finally made it through this extremely long night. Lu Qianqian got up early in the morning and dressed herself up, which made Mama Lu smile in relief. Are you going to see Muan? Mommy, I'll come back after lunch with Lin Muan. I won't miss the big event in the afternoon. Don't worry, go and explain things to Muan. Lu Qianqian nodded. In fact, she was very worried that something like that would happen in novels or television dramas. She just wanted to tell Lin Mu and how she felt now. Lu Qianqian nodded. Little brain, don't think too much. Lu Qianqian nodded and hugged her mother. Mommy, I'll work hard to protect the Lu family with you and look after Daddy's business. Say hi to Muan for Mommy. On the other hand, Lin Muan wasn't any better. After the morning class, he started thinking and guessing if little Chili Pepper would come to meet him at noon. His roommates and the transfer student noticed his lack of concentration. Once lunchtime came, Lin Mu and went to the dormitory to change his clothes. The dark blue turtleneck sweater really looked good on him. His roommates could not help laughing at him. Are you going to see little sister-in-law? Lin Muan actually nodded shyly, which was rare. Oh, I'm so jealous. Smiling, Lin Muan left the dormitory and saw the transfer student at the school gates. He was dressed like that. Perhaps he was going to see that worn shoe again. You don't mind if someone else sleeps with you? Lin Muan's expression was one of anticipation. But when he heard the transfer student's words, he stopped in his tracks and replied, People like you won't understand. I just don't believe that you don't mind. The quality of a person's soul doesn't depend on how many men she has been with. Isn't someone like you who hasn't been with a man ugly too? That's why you would never understand. Love can wash away all impurities and can tolerate all the past. I know she's worth it. But you don't need to understand because you wouldn't. With those words, Lin Muan strode towards the place where he would meet Lu Qianqian. He had thought that he was early. He was also worried that little Pepper would really show up. But when he saw Lu Qianqian standing by the car door of his house, he was relieved. Little Pepper had actually come for lunch. Lin Muan walked up to Lu Qianqian, who reached out and hugged him. I missed you too. Lin Muan was stunned, and suddenly felt the urge to cry. You mean? Last night and this morning, I also missed you. Lin Muan reached out and hugged Lu Qianqian back, and they clung to each other tightly. Do you know? On the way here, I thought of countless possibilities. I even thought that I might not be able to see you, and that I wouldn't be able to say what I wanted to say to you. Even just now, when I saw you with that transfer student, I immediately thought of many things. However, when I saw you walking towards me without any hesitation, I knew that you would definitely let me see you. Silly. Give us more trust, all right? Lin Muan gently pushed Lu Qianqian away and looked at her tenderly. Do you want me to be your boyfriend? Not a good friend, but the kind who would sleep with you and have children. You really don't despise me. Chapter 463. In my heart, you are already more than a friend, boyfriend, or family. To me, the two most important people in my life right now are you and Mommy. At that, Lu Qianqian held Lin Muan's hand. If I did wrong in the first half of my life, I am willing to atone for it, because I want to give all my love to all of you. Lin Muan, I don't just like you. I do love you. Lin Muan's eyes reddened at that. My little Pepper has finally matured. I love you too, to the point where I could ignore everything. Then let's work hard together and become the strongest we can be to protect each other. Lin Muan nodded and finally lowered his head to kiss her thin lips that were almost trembling. It did not matter how many difficulties or obstacles there were in the future. What was important was their resolve to be together. Although the confession came a little late, it was not too late. Moreover, Mama Lu had long since thought of Lin Mu, and as the best son-in-law in her heart. It was fine if the Lin family disagreed, but she would try to change the Lu family's prejudice in the eyes of the Lin family. If these two good children couldn't be together, then God would be too unfair. Both of them stood at the gates of the school, having said the most important words of their lives. Then, they hugged each other for a long time, unwilling to let go. Even if there were many rumors in the school, they did not care. It was only when it was almost time that Lin Muan released Lu Qianqian. The lawyer is almost here. It's about time to go back. All right. Hurry up and have dinner. We'll talk again tonight. Lin Muan lowered his head to kiss Lu Qianqian, and was only satisfied then. They were lovers from now on. For his lover, he must shoulder the responsibility of fighting against the Lin family and become stronger. That was why he could not be willful. Moreover, before the Lu family's lawyer arrived, he called Sheng Xiao. Crown Prince. What is it? Please help me build my career. You would definitely receive an unexpected reward when the time comes. Since he had already invested in the Lu family, would he mind investing in one more talent? You really trust me? Sheng Xiao smiled. A fine bird nests on a tree. I believe that Zhongting needs the support of various factions. You have a military background now, but the military and the police are two different systems. It's easy for me to get a police background. I don't need to train a student. But don't you think that a partner who will never betray you is more valuable? Sheng Xiao smiled when he heard that. You've successfully convinced me, but I'm not doing it for your ability. I'm doing it for your courage and ambition. You can tell Su Che what you want. He'll convey your wishes to me in time. Right now, I have something that I need your help with. Your request sure came quickly. Still, as Lin Muan had said, Sheng Xiao found the whole thing quite interesting. He was curious as to how much effort Lin Mu and would put in to become stronger. Lin Muan's current goal was simple. He wanted the Lin family to be unable to interfere in the matters between him and the Lu family. He could do it with Sheng Xiao's help. Although he might be scheming and shrewd in the future, that was the path that a man had to take in order to protect a woman. And the first thing he had to do now was to get the transfer student out of his sight. His little Pepper was very uncomfortable with her presence, And since she had ulterior motives in the first place, Sheng Xiao had even less to worry about. Of course, it was a secret between men, and Sheng Xiao would not tell anyone about it. Not even Xiao Qi'er. At the very least, he would wait until the melon was ripe. When Lu Qianqian reached home, the Lu family's uncles were already there. Everyone was in the living room, and only the lawyer had not arrived. Mama Lu's expression was very calm, and no one could tell that she was panicking at all. After all, she had to keep these monsters in check, or she could not guarantee that they would not directly eat her and her daughter into their stomachs. Mommy! Mama Lu rose to greet her daughter when she saw that Lu Qianqian had arrived. How did it go with Muin? Don't worry. Your son-in-law won't run away. Lu Qianqian replied with a smile. Of course, since he was her son-in-law, it meant that the two of them had opened up their relationship and decided to be together officially. Mama Lu would have to be even stronger for the family. Don't say anything when the lawyer comes. Just play it by ear. Is there any outside help today? Mama Lu winked at her. Of course, she had to inform them beforehand, or how could she watch the show later? Meanwhile, Lin Mu, Anne's afternoon training was about to begin. His roommates were all laughing at him. Bro Lin, why are you and sister-in-law acting like it's your first time together? Hugging for so long in the middle of the afternoon. The whole school knows about it. You don't know. That transfer student's eyes were glued to it. Hugging and kissing, it's sensational. Lin Muan glanced at the transfer student. If Sheng Xiao acted quickly enough, that person would be gone from the police academy before tomorrow. Asterisk. That's your sister-in-law. You must respect her. We were respectful before too. The others laughed. I mean, respect her from the bottom of your heart. If you think she's just, I don't think we need to be friends. Bro Lin, we all think she's fine. What day and age are we living in? Do girls still have to follow the 3 virtues and be drowned in a pig cage? As long as there's nothing wrong with her character, I think her soul is more beautiful than anything else. Lin Muan could not help smiling at that. If the Lin family could understand his feelings that way, he and his family would not have ended up like this. It was a difficult choice between family and lover, since ancient times. If one side must be betrayed, it would depend on whether the other was worth it. And his little chili was the best. Soon, Papa Lu's lawyer arrived at the Lu family's house. He took out some documents and sat down on the sofa as he faced the Lu family. Because Mr. Lu passed away suddenly, he told them. According to the law, the first-in-line heir's spouse and children are still alive. That is why Mr. Lu's brothers have no right to inheritance. But the lawyer took out his will. Mr. Lu left a will. Lu Qianqian and Mama Lu's faces fell at that. And Lu Qianqian was about to speak when her mother held her back, reminding her to keep calm. I didn't know that the deceased husband had a will as his wife. Madam Lu, I was the one who drafted the will, so you don't have to doubt it. Still, Mr. Lu didn't have the time to tell his family about it. If that's the case, then make the announcement. I want to see what my deceased husband was thinking. The youngest uncle of the Lu family was fiddling with a ring on his finger. Chapter 464. Considering that Miss Lu and Mrs. Lu do not have the ability to take charge of the company on their own, Mr. Lu's youngest brother, Mr. Lu Mingho, will be appointed as the acting chairman of Lu Holdings until Miss Lu has the ability to take over the family. All movable and immovable property under Mr. Lu's name will be inherited by his spouse and daughter in a 50-50 ratio. However, Miss Lu must be able to join the board of directors with her own ability. Otherwise, the other half of the inheritance will be managed by Mr. Lu Mingho as well. This is the draft of the will. It is a fair will, and everyone can read it. The lawyer passed the information after he finished explaining the contents of the will. Of course, the other brothers of Lu Holdings were not convinced by the result. Since when did Big Brother favor me? Why didn't I know about this? Don't be so sour, second brother. Don't you think that apart from Big Brother, I've contributed more to Lu Holdings over the years than all of you? I don't believe that Big Brother is that stupid. It's one thing to make you the acting chairman, but there's also the other 50% of shares that belongs to Qianqian. Big Brother wants Qianqian to join the board of directors with her own ability. But if you become chairman and Qianqian can never join the board of directors, wouldn't the other half of Big Brother's inheritance become your private property? I agree. I don't believe that Big Brother wrote this will. The other brothers of the Liu family were competing to express their opinions. I can't do anything if you don't believe it. After all, this is Big Brother's will. The youngest uncle of the Liu family was calm and composed as he sat on the sofa. Whether you are willing or not, the lawyer will distribute the inheritance according to this will. I'm sorry, but I can't do anything because you love me so much. Mama Liu finally spoke after listening to the argument of the brothers and asked the lawyer, what would happen if Qianqian gives up the 50% inheritance? In that case, Mr. Liu Minghe will rightfully inherit 50% of the inheritance. Then let me put it this way. Assuming that this will is real, I will receive 50% of the inheritance. Together with my original shares, I hold 21% of the company's shares, and little brother holds 27%. In other words, I am still the biggest shareholder in the company. Is that correct? Mama Liu continued to ask the lawyer. That's right. The lawyer nodded. You said that my husband's will is for little brother to temporarily take over as chairman of Liu Holdings. I have no opinion about that. Sister-in-law. How did you? Mama Liu reached out to stop them from talking. After youngest Uncle Liu heard this, he smiled. It seems that eldest sister-in-law is the most sensible one and believes in the authenticity of the will. Moreover, to be honest, both of you have never managed a company before. You might as well stay at home and enjoy life. Isn't that better? Moreover, when Qianqian's successor training is completed, I will naturally let her enter the board of directors and let her inherit Big Brother's will. Are you afraid that I will embezzle the inheritance? Father dotes on me so much. How could he let you, who has wild ambitions, manage the estate? Are you kidding me? Liu Qianqian glanced at the youngest uncle of the Liu family. But the will is written in black and white. The law is fair. Are you not going to execute it? Execute. Mama Liu gave the final word. That's good. However, after meeting my late husband's lawyer, you should also meet me. After saying that, Mama Liu made a phone call and said, come in. Then she looked at everyone solemnly and calmly. None of them knew what she was up to, while the youngest uncle of the Liu family sneered. He did not believe that a woman could overturn the heavens. The will had already been announced. Soon, Mama Liu's lawyer team entered the Liu family's residence. After glancing at everyone present, they listened to the contents of the will again. Seeing that her lawyer was already in place, Mama Liu said, since my late husband is so stubborn that he would make the youngest of the Liu family the acting chairman and threaten and restrain my daughter's life, I might as well go all the way. Since I own the most shares of Liu Holdings, I would transfer them to Sheng Xiao, the CEO of Zhongting. Liu Holdings would become a subsidiary of Zhongting. When that happens, with Chief Sheng's ability, would he still need you to be the acting chairman? Mama Liu sneered. With this money, my daughter and I would not have to worry about our lives in the future, and have nothing to do with Liu Holdings. It's the best of both worlds. The youngest of the Liu family and Papa Liu's secretary were stunned at that. Madam Liu. What? Did my late husband stipulate that I can only get 50% of the shares with certain conditions? That's not it. Then cut the nonsense. If youngest uncle of the Liu family wants to be the acting chairman, you should transfer the shares when you handle the distribution of the estate, so that I don't have to do it myself. Zhongting would have professionals handle the rest. You know Zhongting, don't you? I'm not going to investigate the authenticity of the will, and Qianqian doesn't have to fight for a seat on the board of directors. What's the point? Selling the shares would be the end of it. After all, who would be willing to hand over the company's shares and lose their autonomy? The youngest uncle of the Liu family was stunned at that, because he never thought that Mama Liu would have such a trick up her sleeve. Sister-in-law, you don't have to be so ruthless even if you want to oppose me, do you? You know very well whether I'm ruthless or you're ruthless. Let's cut the crap and do it. Handing Liu Holdings over to Zhongting, and including youngest uncle of the Liu family? To tell you the truth, After Zhongting invests in the company, they would also invest in the company. After all, they have such a strong background. And even if you hold 50% of Qianqian's shares, it would be infinitely diluted. You want to play with me in forging a will? Then we'll play as you wish. Papa Lu's lawyer's face fell at the mention of a forged will. Don't talk nonsense, Madam Lu. This will is real. Lawyer Fong, the lawyer beside me was sent by Zhongting. Do you have the guts to let them check the will? When my husband was alive, he was most wary of the youngest brother of the Lu family. He was ambitious and covetous towards Lu Holdings. How could he let him be the acting chairman? Do you take me for a fool? Just tell me, youngest brother. Are you going to be the acting chairman or not? Mama Lu asked the youngest uncle of the Lu family sharply. The youngest uncle of the Lu family clenched his fists. Although he wanted to be the chairman, he would be nothing but a decoration if Zhongting interfered. Who did not know Xing Zhao's ability, it would be best if he did not provoke such a person. Chapter 465. Maintaining the status quo was the smartest thing to do, especially when Lu Qianqian became the new person in charge of Lu Holdings. As long as she created enough trouble, it was only a matter of time before she was kicked out of the board of directors. This was much better than Zhongting interfering, right? Are you still going to supervise 50% of Qianqian's inheritance? Mama Lu was clearly threatening him, but it must be said that she had caught the youngest uncle's weak spot. In the end, he had underestimated this woman and thought that she was just a vase. Who would have thought that he would be so ruthless when it came to handling matters? I will also give up supervision. Since that's the case, then my daughter and I will each get half of my husband's inheritance. Does anyone have any objections? The Lu brothers all shook their heads. At least this way, Lu Enterprises would still be the Lu family's business and had nothing to do with outsiders. It was a pity that Uncle Lu had planned a good show, but he didn't get anything. Since that's the case, little brother, you should sign the proof of giving up the supervision of the estate on the spot. Uncle Lu had no choice but to do as he was told. However, he had a cold smile on his face the entire time. He even threatened Mama Lu. I'll make you pay one day. Mama Lu did not think much of it. When she got the proof, she turned to the brothers and said, Don't be in a hurry to leave. I still have something to say. We are a widow and a daughter with no one to rely on. And our families are all wolves and leopards. Which is why I've decided to transfer half of my shares to Zhongting. However, Zhongting has promised me that they will only hold the shares and not participate in the management. Still, if you pull Qianqian down from her position as the person in charge, that might not be the case. When the brothers heard this, their eyes widened. Sister-in-law, isn't this equivalent to selling the company? Falling into the hands of Zhongting is better than falling into your hands, right? Do the brothers have a solution? There was no other way. Mama Lu was protecting Lu Qianqian's position in Lu Holdings, and also for the safety of mother and daughter. Even if the brothers hated her to the core, she would still do it. The premise of protecting Lu Enterprises was to protect Qianqian first. This was what Papa Lu cared about the most when he was alive. I would like to see how Lu Qianqian is going to destroy Lu Holdings. That's not something you can control. Brothers, do your best. They had come to the Lu family's house in high spirits, only to return disappointed in the end, especially the youngest uncle of the Lu family, who had gone to great lengths to bribe a lawyer to forge the will, only to be betrayed by Mother Lu in the end. He really didn't expect this woman to be so scheming. She even knew to ask Zhongting for help. Lu Qianqian hugged her mother when she saw her uncles leaving with red necks. Mommy, it's the first time I've seen you so brave. As a mother has to be strong. It's all for you. Mommy still has a lot to learn in the future. But Crown Prince isn't helping us for free, right? Lu Qianqian guessed. Even if she and Muqiqi were best friends, the Crown Prince had nothing to do with her. What he did now was already a great help. How could he do it for free? The Crown Prince's brain was sharper than anything else. Of course, the shares were transferred to Zhongting at a price lower than the market price. However, Zhongting protected us. This is a win-win deal. Papa Lu's lawyer could not help feeling guilty and fearful at that. Seeing that everyone from the Lu family had left, He dropped to his knees before Mama Lu with a thud. Madam Lu, I didn't mean to betray you. I was just blinded by greed for a moment. I hope you won't sue me. I still have a wife and child to feed at home. Well, have you ever thought about how Chanqian and I would be treated if you and your brother's plan succeeded? Why should I sympathize with you? I'm kowtowing to you. Please spare me on account of my years of service, Mr. Lu. I beg you. Then get out of my sight. I won't be so nice the next time I see you. Mama Lu spared him entirely out of respect for her deceased husband. That scum would never survive in the circle, and they didn't have to dirty their own feet by stepping on a street rat. Hurry up and tell Muan about this. Tell him not to worry. But Chanqian, Mommy can help you today, but you can only rely on yourself at the board meeting in 2 days. Mommy, you have to believe me. Lu Chanqian told Mama Lu hopefully. I will definitely make those uncles look at me differently. Mama Lu nodded. Then I'll wait for your performance. After all, although the matter of the inheritance was settled, the safety of both mother and daughter was not resolved. Still, Mama Lu could not ask for Zhongting's help, but Sheng Xiao himself sent someone. This gift is from Lin Muan. Mama Lu did a double take. How did Muan do it? After Lu Chanqian returned to her room, she lay on her bed and told Lin Mu and about the soul-stirring events of the afternoon. Although it was dangerous, it was fortunate that the matter was resolved smoothly. Lin Muan read the message after class and called Lu Chanqian back. I have half a day this weekend. Let's have a meal with the Crown Prince and Mu Qiqi as thanks. Are you satisfied with your boyfriend's arrangement? I think so too. Muan, I still find it unreal even now. Whether it was what happened between you and me in the afternoon or the inheritance, I find it unbelievable. Don't let your imagination run wild. Mu Qiqi and the others don't know that we're together. We'll tell her when the time comes. What did Sheng Xiao not know? That silly girl. If Sheng Xiao didn't know, how did she lend him people to protect them? After that, they hung up, and Lin Muan's roommate reminded Lin Muan. I heard that the transfer student is going back to her old school. You won't have anyone pestering you anymore, Brother Lin. There's no telling if she found her conscience or some other reason. But whatever the case, it's good that she's gone. Lin Muan said nothing, and merely sighed inwardly. Sheng Xiao's speed was truly unmatched. On the other hand, Sheng Xiao had found more information about Miss Hu, studying her habits and hobbies. She was a girl who liked reading manga, crafts, and arranging flowers, and had the IQ of an 11-year-old. On the surface, there was nothing wrong with her. But what about reality? Hu Ran could fool normal people, but she could not fool Sheng Xiao's eyes. Still, he had to try to know everything, and only then could he prove his suspicions. With that thought, Xiao Qi entered the study with a human anatomy chart, and frowned when she found him studying Hu Ran's information. Is there a problem with Miss Hu? Chapter 466. Sheng Xiao waved at Mu Qiqi. After she was in his arms, he pointed at the documents with his chin and asked Mu Qiqi. Under normal circumstances, it's difficult for children to focus their attention, so whatever they like will be short-lived. When you were 11, was there anything that you liked on your own, and persisted for more than 2 years? Mu Qiqi thought about it. Mu Tongxue would always snatch whatever she liked, but to be frank, she would not have liked anything for more than 2 years, even without Mu Tongshua's actions. Moreover, it was a few hobbies that she persisted in. Children like the feeling of novelty. So you've noticed a problem? Mu Qiqi picked up the documents on the desk, glanced through them and nodded. If Miss Hu really has the intelligence of an 11-year-old, her hobbies have persisted for too long. Let's assume that this Miss Hu is pretending to be dumb. If she likes only a few things, firstly, she won't be confused, and secondly, she can highlight her uniqueness. If she only likes a few things, it will give others the illusion that she is even more dumb. Sheng Xiao nodded. It was still easier to talk to his little one, and she understood everything at once. She is the only jewel of the Hu family. Why would she pretend to be dumb? It might have something to do with that car accident. Sheng Xiao pinched her nose and picked her up from the chair. That's all for today. Aren't you going to tell third brother? Mu Qiqi looked at Sheng Xiao in confusion. Why should I tell him? Sheng Xiao rarely showed such a devilish look now. Since it was third brother who refused to leave the Sheng family, it had nothing to do with them whether Miss Hu was really dumb or not, and third brother had to find out for himself. Just like Lu Qianqian and Lin Muan, it was useless for outsiders to interfere. It was better for them to experience things together, and only with a foundation of affection would certain things come naturally. By the way, Lin Muan asked me out for dinner this weekend. I'll go. I only have a few friends anyway. Mu Qiqi replied nonchalantly. Sheng Xiao said nothing else, and simply took his little one to bed. The little one was still on her period, but he did not seem to be idle even so. The lights in the room had been switched off and Sheng Xiao had closed his eyes. But his little one suddenly poked her head out and asked, "Don't you want it?" Meanwhile, the Hu family was very pleased with third brother. At the very least, Hu Ran told them that she liked third brother a lot. With that hint, third brother knew that the marriage was inevitable, even if it was not to the point of tragedy. Soon, the two families sat together and discussed their marriage. Because Hu Ran's condition was fluctuating, the Hu family suggested canceling the engagement and getting married directly. Old Sheng had no objections and turned to third brother beside him. "It's your marriage. What do you think?" "I also think that we can get married directly. Then it's decided." Old Master Sheng nodded. "I believe you are aware of Xiao Ran's condition, Elder Sheng. That is why the Hu family does not need to hold a grand wedding or announce it to the world. As long as third young master takes good care of Xiao Ran, I will be satisfied as a father." In other words, it was enough to let the outside world know about the marriage between the two families. There was no need to go through so much trouble to prepare for it. When the time came, they would be laughed at by the outside world. But the Sheng family is afraid that Xiao Ran would be wronged if we simply marry her. I am her father. I can make the decision. You don't have to worry about it, Elder Sheng. In other words, the Hu family was afraid that the event would be too grand, and the outside world would hype up Hu Ran and hurt her again. Alright, we can skip the grand wedding, but after they register their marriage, they would have to change their habits. Of course. Third brother sat in the middle, and did not have any opinion of his own. Either way, he had no room to object. In fact, a simple marriage registration was just the right thing to do, and it saved him the trouble of putting on a forced smile. Well, third brother, pick a good day and register your marriage with Xiao Ran. Alright. Third brother had been very obedient from start to finish. Don't worry, Elder Sheng. I would treat third young master as my own son. After all, she is the only daughter of the Hu family. At that, old Hu's old face broke into a wide grin. Well, I'll prepare a new house for you too. A new house. Third brother felt a wave of repulsion in his heart at the word. Although Hu Ran's body had matured, she only had the intelligence of an 11-year-old, and third brother felt that he could not lay his hands on a little girl. Although he had tried his best to put himself on equal footing with Hu Ran, any other man would feel repulsed when faced with such a thing. Third young master, please take care of Xiao Ran from now on. Don't worry, uncle. I will do my duty and do my best to protect Xiao Ran. Papa Hu nodded and clapped third brother on the shoulder. The happiest person in this marriage was none other than Hu Ran's stepmother, because the condition for her to marry into the Hu family was that she had to treat Hu Ran as her own daughter, and not have any children of her own. That was the promise that her stepmother had made to Papa Hu. That was why she had tried everything she could to wish for Hu Ran's death. But now that she was suddenly married off, she should be able to tell her husband that she wanted another child, shouldn't she? She did not believe that Papa Hu would not want a son to inherit the family business. In the future, without Hu Ran causing trouble in the house, she just had to show her skill at charming men, and having a son was only a matter of time. Hu Ran did not participate in the discussion of their marriage. Xiao mentioned the marriage when she accompanied her in her handicrafts, and naturally mentioned that Hu Ran would soon move out of the Hu family. Hu Ran's eyes brightened at the thought. After all, she had to ensure her own safety before she had the chance to chase that vicious stepmother out of the house. Miss, Xiao is really worried about you. What would you do if third young master doesn't treat you well when you marry into the Sheng family? Moreover, Miss doesn't know a thing about relationships, and there's no telling when the time comes. Hu Ran could not help laughing. Even if she had such intentions, third young master would not want to touch a fool like her. With that thought in mind, she was looking forward to the future. Hu Ran felt that she was being mischievous, and that third young master would not be able to avoid her pranks in the future. Of course, the Sheng family knew that third brother was going to register his marriage with Miss Hu. Still, did the marriage between two great families need to be handled so discreetly? Chapter 467. It's really hard on third brother. So grandfather, are you really not going to set him free? I think he has already resigned himself to his fate. Moreover, third brother is not old. Sheng Kai was about to mention Sheng Xiao, but swallowed the words. Third brother has a sense of responsibility, and would not leave the Sheng family on a whim. Release him tomorrow, but send someone to keep an eye on him. That was to prevent third brother from going to Sheng Xiao. Still, it was better than being locked up as a prisoner. Xiling, you'll be in charge of third brother and Miss Hu's bridal chamber. Gu Xiling nodded when her name was suddenly called out. Don't worry, grandfather. Her wedding with Sheng Kai had been the grandest in all of Jianchuan, but third brother could not even have a proper wedding. She calmed down at the thought. That's right, a fool. Do you still expect her to say something appropriate in front of the guests on stage? When that happens, the Sheng family and the Hu family would only be laughingstocks. Since her little sister-in-law was about to marry into the family, she would certainly welcome her warmly as her sister-in-law. Third brother is married too, and the two of you should hurry up and have children as well. It would be a burden on Xiling's body if you delay. Children. Both of them knew very well that Sheng Kai would not have any with his current condition. Still, since the old man had asked, they had to play along. We understand, grandfather. It was the weekend in the blink of an eye, and Lin Mu and was treating Sheng Xiao and Lu Qianqian to a meal. However, Lin Muan and Lu Qianqian were nowhere to be seen even after Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi had taken their seats. Wasn't the treat a little too insincere? Should we go home, Xiao Xiao? Ignore those two. Sheng Xiao wrapped his arm around her and gestured with his chin outside the restaurant. Mu Qiqi followed his gaze and found Lin Mu and Lu Qianqian holding hands as they opened the door. Mu Qiqi smiled in understanding and promptly asked them, We're not bros anymore, are we? Lu Qianqian blushed. Qiqi. Mu Qiqi turned to Sheng Xiao, but found that he was not surprised at all. You know that too? That's right. You were the one who settled the matter with the Lu family. So it would be weird if you didn't know. That's why I'm the last one to know. Qiqi, don't tease us. You know I'm thin-skinned. Mu Qiqi crossed her arms and looked at them from head to toe. Do you know how much I despised Lin Muan in the past? For 10,000 years, he wandered around with those rich young ladies. But I didn't expect him to turn over a new leaf for you. Forget it. Even the heavens can't stand it anymore, let alone me. Lu Qianqian leaned into Lin Mu An's arms sweetly. Tisk TSK, are you two trying to show off your love in front of me and Xiao Xiao? TSK, you two are the most mushy in all of Jianchuan. Muan and I admit defeat. His love for Mu Qiqi had been passed down by word of mouth, and almost everyone in Jianchuan knew about it. That was why no one had the guts to compete with him. Has your trouble been resolved? Sheng Xiao suddenly asked Lin Muan, clearly referring to the transfer student. Lin Muan nodded. I've gotten what I wanted. Thank you, Crown Prince. The two women were puzzled when they heard the conversation between the two men. It was clear that they were having an affair in private. The matter with the Lin family is not as simple as you think. I know, but I won't sit and wait. As long as he could borrow Sheng Xiao's hand, he believed that he could slowly retaliate against the Lin family. Now he was not afraid that the Lin family would only care about his relationship with Little Pepper, and he would give Lu Qianqian the best protection, no matter what storms they faced. With that, Mu Qiqi finally understood what the two men were talking about. Now, she was even more assured that Lin Muan and Qianqian were together. After all, no matter how good a man was to a woman, he would be no different from Duan Xiao. And if he did not plan for the future, and only coveted the pleasure in front of him. Now that Lin Mu and was willing to lower himself to ask for Xiao Xiao's help, it was clear that he knew what came first in his heart. I think it's worth a drink for the happiness we have now. Lu Qianqian and Lin Muan clasped hands and nodded. Although I'm envious that you have a powerful man like the Crown Prince to protect you, I hope to have someone who would never give up no matter what happens. At that, Mu Qiqi suddenly pulled Lu Qianqian and whispered, Are you going to fight to the death with him now? Let's wait until we test his ability in that aspect before deciding. Mu Qiqi, your Crown Prince has really corrupted you. Lu Qianqian blushed. Of course, all four of them knew what Mu Qiqi and Lu Qianqian were talking about since it was so obvious. There was no end to the laughter and chatter between the four of them during the meal. And it was only during such moments that Sheng Xiao felt relaxed, as if he was celebrating a festival with children. After all, his social circle was now 100 times more complicated than before. It was only when he was with his little one's friends that he would have no scruples. Soon, it was late at night when the four of them had dinner, and Lin Muan had to return to school. Lu Qianqian was a little tipsy and struggled in Lin Muan's arms. Can't we go back tomorrow? In fact, it was not that they couldn't, but they had to wake up at 5 in the morning. He did not want to be reluctant to part with Lu Qianqian, and hoped that she could rest more. Still, he did not think too much about Lu Qianqian's current state. I'll send you home first. Auntie will be worried. Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao shared a look, and the young couple shared a tacit understanding. Xiao, let's go home too, let's go. Su Che is here. After all, they were drunk and could not drive. Meanwhile, Lin Muan and Lu Qianqian found a designated driver, and the two couples went to their own houses. Nonetheless, Mama Lu was waiting for them in the living room when they reached home. Auntie, Qianqian drank a little too much. I didn't restrain her when we met. It's good to know that you're back safely. Take care of her. I'm going to my room to rest. Mama Lu certainly did not want to take care of a drunkard. Her daughter's boyfriend was there. Even so, she believed that Lin Muan knew what he was doing. Seeing Mama Lu enter, Lin Muan carried Lu Qianqian back to their room. However, Lu Qianqian quickly wrapped her arms around Lin Muan's waist when they lay on the bed. Muan, silly. Lin Muan pried her hands away and went to the bathroom to get a wet towel to wipe her face so that she would feel better. Muan, hug me to sleep. Do you know you're inviting a man? Lin Muan pressed down on Lu Qianqian's body. Don't go out drinking when I'm not around. Chapter 468. How could I not know when you're shouting like that? Lin Muan helplessly stopped Lu Qianqian's groping hand. Lu Qianqian smiled innocently. Even so, Lin Muan was not tempted, and simply sat by the bed to coax Lu Qianqian to sleep. But this little girl was restless. After taking advantage of Lin Muan's body, she lay on his body and vomited. Lin Muan was speechless. Then, he carried Lu Qianqian into the bathroom and washed her simply before throwing her on the bed. Because Lu Qianqian dirtied his clothes, that put Lin Muan in a difficult position. Left with no choice, Lin Muan knocked on Mama Lu's door. When Mama Lu saw the filth on Lin Muan's body, she knew that the girl had vomited. So, she handed him Papa Lu's pajamas. Why don't I make you some hangover soup? Go to sleep, Auntie. I'll make it. If it were any other child with evil intentions, they would have taken off their clothes after sending Lu Qianqian back to her room. Why would they wait for Lu Qianqian to vomit all over themselves? From this, it could be seen that this child's temperament was truly pure and kind. You should rest early too. Lin Muan thought that the little pepper would probably choke him for the whole night. It was 2 in the morning when he took a bath and cooked the soup. Lin Muan looked at the time and smiled helplessly. What a sweet burden. He didn't have sex after drinking or one-night stands. There were some things that shouldn't happen so early. He had to try his best to restrain his beastly desires. The next day, there was a faint light in the room. When Lu Qianqian woke up and looked at the floor, she found Lin Muan lying on the floor almost naked. Lu Qianqian immediately yelled, startling Lin Muan awake. What are you yelling at? Lin Muan opened his eyes in confusion. He had just fallen asleep. You're naked. My dear Missy, your amnesia is really acting up. You puked on me twice yesterday. The first time, I went to Auntie to get Uncle's pajamas. Then in the middle of the night you puked again. I couldn't disturb Auntie again, so I could only sleep like this. Lin Muin stared at her helplessly. Lu Qianqian seemed to have some impression of it, so she quickly pushed Lin Muin onto the bed. It's so cold down there. Why don't you sleep on the bed? There's a sofa outside too. Do you want me to sleep outside like this? Lin Muin rolled his eyes. What if Auntie sees us? I couldn't tell that you've achieved so much during your time at the police academy. Lu Qianqian's gaze suddenly swept across Lin Muin's entire body. Her attention was instantly diverted. She looked at his body. It was like an inverted triangle. His muscles were firm, and his skin was smooth and delicate. Drooling? Screw you. Aren't you in a hurry to go to school? Besides, we look like bad boys and girls getting a room outside. Now that little Pepper was awake, Lin Muin rolled over and pulled Lu Qianqian under him. Now it looks like it. You get up. Lu Qianqian felt her head swelling. Although they were boyfriend and girlfriend now, she would still feel embarrassed if they suddenly did this. You didn't have such a big reaction when we put our arms around each other's shoulders. Lin Muin teased her deliberately. After all, he had suffered so much to take care of little Pepper last night. At that time, I kept reminding myself that I see you as a bro. That's why I don't have any thoughts about you. So you have feelings now. Helpless, Lu Qianqian quickly covered her face. Don't ask. Lin Muin could not hold back. He moved her hands away and kissed her thin lips. Lu Qianqian wanted to be rational. But who could reject such a picture so early in the morning? Their bodies were pressed against each other. There was only a thin nightgown between them. Lu Qianqian could even feel the changes in Lin Muin's body. However, other than kissing her, Lin Muin did not do anything else. The two of them rolled around on the bed for a few times, but nothing happened. It's almost 6. I have to go back to school. Okay. Lu Qianqian nodded, blushing. But my nightgown, I changed it. With that, Lin Muin tapped Lu Qianqian's head. Go get Uncle's clothes. I can't wear mine. Wait a minute. Lu Qianqian quickly got up and returned to the room with Papa Lu's clothes. Lin Muin had already wrapped a towel around himself. Lu Qianqian handed him Papa Lu's clothes. Put it on. It might be a little short. Aren't you going to turn around? Lin Muin asked Lu Qianqian as he took the clothes. Lu Qianqian turned obediently. Lin Muin chuckled. After changing, he hooked his arm around Lu Qianqian's neck and leaned in for a kiss. Let's get drunk more in the future. It's quite interesting. You only know how to tease me. Don't drink when I'm not around. With that, Lin Muin opened the door to Lu Qianqian's room and quickly left the Lu family after saying goodbye to Mama Lu. When Lin Muin was far away, Lu Qianqian looked down at her nightgown, thinking that Lin Muin had changed it for her. Last night when she was with Lin Muin, it was ambiguous and restrained. But that was the most provocative part. It was like an itch that tickled every part of her body. When Lin Muin returned to school, he was mocked by his roommates. That's not what our bro Lin wore when he went out. Did he spend a night with sister-in-law? Lin Muin climbed into bed tiredly and changed his clothes. We did spend a night together. But who knows what I went through? That's not important. Isn't it enough as long as it's sweet? Sweet. That was a must. The news of the marriage between the Sheng family and the Hu family finally spread. Everyone in Jianchuan was so shocked that their jaws almost dropped to the ground when their idiot daughter was about to marry the Sheng family's third young master. Everyone in the outside world was talking about how unlucky the third young master was to marry a fool. Was his brain damaged as well? Third brother did not care about those rumors at all. Now that he had finally regained his freedom, he did not want to lose it so soon. Still, tomorrow was the day he and Hu Ran would register at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Unknowingly, the day had come. Third brother really wanted to talk to Sheng Xiao, even if it was just to vent his frustrations. But the follower behind him did not give him the chance. Young master, you are getting married tomorrow. Don't trouble us bodyguards today. Third brother's footsteps paused at the gates of Sheng Zhao's mansion. Even so, Sheng Zhao's car stopped right in front of third brother. Perhaps because he and third brother had a telepathic connection. Are you released? Sheng Xiao asked mockingly. Chapter 469. The bodyguard nodded helplessly. Hurry up then. Sheng Xiao lost interest in talking to third brother when he saw that third brother had to ask for his permission. Since I've made my choice, there's nothing to say now. Third brother took a deep breath and laughed self-deprecatingly. That seems to be the case. Still, I'm getting married tomorrow. Enjoy your life as a newlywed. You'll get an unexpected surprise. With that, Sheng Xiao wound the car window and had Su Che drive through the gates of the mansion. Meanwhile, third brother was completely unaware of the hint in Sheng Xiao's words. He simply felt that Sheng Xiao was looking down on him. Let's go, third young master. Third brother nodded and turned to return to the car. There was no dignity to speak of in that very moment. Sheng Xiao's car was parked behind the gates of the mansion, and he could not stop worrying even as he watched third brother leave. Although he had promised not to help him at first, Sheng Xiao dragged his little one along when he got home, intending to go out for a bit. Where are you going? The Hu family, Sheng Xiao said. I'm going to talk business with Chief Hu. You go see Miss Hu. Although Mu Chichi did not know why he was in such a hurry, she knew very well when she turned and saw that her man was not saying a word. Her Sheng Xiao was actually a soft-hearted person with a sharp tongue. Even though he said that third brother should discover and understand on his own, he still considered third brother as one of his own. Still, his visit was sudden, and it happened when the Sheng family and the Hu family were about to unite by marriage. Papa Hu was very wary when he heard that Sheng Xiao was coming. Sheng Xiao and the Sheng family were enemies, and there was no telling what the Sheng family would think if he met Sheng Xiao now. Moreover, everyone knew that Sheng Xiao was close to third brother. Wouldn't he be losing more than he could gain if he came to mess things up now, and the wedding couldn't go ahead? Still, Zhongting had a military background in Jianchuan, and he had to meet Sheng Xiao even if he was against it. Therefore, after hesitating for a while, Papa Hu arranged for the butler to lead Sheng Xiao and third brother into the living room. I wonder why Chief Sheng is visiting so late at night. Papa Hu was very polite. Mr. Hu, I'm sure you're afraid of my appearance at this time, but I can assure you that I'm not here to ruin the wedding. Secondly, I'm not here to persuade you. I just have a proposal, and I want to ask if you're interested. Of course, my fiancé would like to see Miss Hu, but it has absolutely nothing to do with tomorrow's wedding. I wonder if Mr. Hu can do me this favor? Since it was a late-night visit, it must be something important. But, Chief Sheng, can you guarantee that there will be no obstacles to tomorrow's wedding? I promise. Since that's the case, why not meet my daughter? It was not that Papa Hu was not worried. However, since Sheng Xiao was here, it meant that he had to see Hu Ran today. If Papa Hu did not agree, it was hard to say if he would be able to go smoothly tomorrow. Please take a seat, Chief Sheng. My daughter is on the second floor. Please make yourself at home, young madam. Chief Hu pointed the way. Mu Chichi nodded and went up the stairs. It was Hu Ran's servant Xiao who was taking care of her. Miss Yu, Xiao, come out first. Let young madam have a word with Xiao Ran. Hu Ran's stepmother appeared behind them. Xiao was puzzled, but she had to do as she was told. She even closed the door when she left. That was when Hu Ran smiled foolishly at Mu Chichi. Who are you? Miss Hu. Mu Chichi whispered into Hu Ran's ear. An 11-year-old child would not persist in loving handicrafts, flower arrangements, and comics for so long. Hu Ran's expression changed. She was about to shout at the door to call Axiu into the room, to stop Mu Chichi from continuing. However, Mu Chichi covered her mouth and said, Don't shout. I'm not here to expose you. I don't care if you are really stupid, or just pretending to be stupid. My purpose for coming here tonight is very simple. To you, marrying into the Sheng family would be freeing you from the cage of being a stepmother. But to the other person, it is humiliation and mockery. He has no choice but to marry you for his family. That said, I want to tell you, Miss Hu, please don't be in cahoots with the Sheng family and stab him in the back. After all, he is giving you a chance to live by marrying you, and I hope you can understand his situation. Please remember one thing. Be worthy of his decision. Hu Ran looked at Mu Chichi seriously, assuming that Mu Chichi was an old flame of third brother's. After all, She had spent most of her time at home over the last 2 years, and rarely learned about the outside world, just as she was not aware of the identity of the girl before her. That was why she could not believe Mu-Chi-Chi at the moment, but kept her words in mind. At first, she had believed that third young master Sheng did not have a girlfriend or a girl he liked, which was why she was at ease. Now that he had a girlfriend, she would pretend to marry third brother and divorce him immediately after she left the Hu family. Third young master would marry her even if he knew she was a fool, which meant that he did not have the right to decide his own marriage. If it was not her tomorrow, it would be someone else sooner or later. If that was the case, it was better to come to terms with her. Hu Ran could not give Mu-Chi-Chi a reply, and kept playing dumb. Even so, Mu-Chi-Chi knew very well that Miss Hu must have understood what she said, although she did not know that Hu Ran had misunderstood her relationship with third brother. Soon Mu-Chi-Chi left Hu Ran's room, while Sheng Xiao explained everything to Papa Hu. "I didn't expect you to be so quick, madam," Papa Hu said. "I won't tell anyone about what happened tonight. No one would know that I came," Sheng Xiao promised Papa Hu. "After you, Chief Sheng." Papa Hu personally saw Sheng Xiao off, before quickly returning to his room to check on Hu Ran. It was fortunate that his daughter was still the same, and did not act strangely just because Mu-Chi-Chi had seen her. Although Papa Hu did not know what Mu-Chi-Chi had said to Hu Ran, it did not matter as long as it did not affect their marriage registration tomorrow. "You're right, Xiao Xiao. Miss Hu is really playing dumb, because the look in her eyes is too rich for an 11-year-old child," Mu-Chi-Chi told Sheng Xiao on her way back. "I just hope that she won't bully third brother. That's all we can do to help him." Sheng Xiao said nothing, but his eyes could not hide the hatred he had for the Sheng family. Mu-Chi-Chi hugged Sheng Xiao's arm, and leaned her head on his shoulder. "There are some things that even you can't do. I'm thinking about something else," Sheng Xiao suddenly said. Did you reveal your identity?" Sheng Xiao pressed Mu-Chi-Chi. Mu-Chi-Chi did a double take. "Huh. She wouldn't misunderstand, would she? She's a fool now. Even if she misunderstands, she has to finish the act. Why do I feel like I'm causing trouble for third brother?" Chapter 470. Hu Ran didn't have any other thoughts. She only thought that her fiancé had a lover, and had no choice but to marry her. Although she did not know how Mu-Chi-Chi came to the Hu family, or how she convinced her father to enter her room, she only knew that the girl seemed to care about the third young master of the Sheng family. Therefore, for the whole night, Hu Ran tossed and turned on the bed, unable to fall asleep. Sheng Xiao was right. She had to keep up the act no matter what, because as a silly girl, how could she have the consciousness to reject marriage? Moreover, she had shown that she liked third young master. If she suddenly said that she did not like him, there was no telling how much trouble it would cause. That was why third young master had to endure it for now, even if he felt wronged. At most, she could think of a way to divorce him, after she left the Hu family. The next morning, her stepmother suddenly appeared outside Hu Ran's room. Seeing that Hu Ran had already dressed up with the Xiao's help, she walked up to Hu Ran and asked her to leave. "Xiao Ran, don't ever come back after you leave the Hu family. Otherwise, I won't be able to give you a brother. You know your father's situation. What if he doesn't have a son to inherit the family business? That's why be a good girl, Xiao Ran. You must be obedient when you come to the Sheng family." Hu Ran pretended not to understand, although she naturally knew what her stepmother was planning. That was why her stepmother had been trying to kill her all these years, just so she could get pregnant. This woman was just that vicious. And because of her words, Hu Ran was even more determined to marry into the Sheng family. Otherwise, she did not know if she would anger her stepmother, and her life would be threatened again. "Madam, the Sheng family's car is here. Young miss should get down." A Xiao's voice rang from outside the door. Her stepmother nodded and pinched Hu Ran's chin. "I won't be merciful if you come back from the Sheng family." "What is merciful?" Hu Ran asked innocently. "Be a good girl, Xiao Ran. Go and marry your little brother." Hu Ran was quickly helped downstairs. Meanwhile, third brother was already standing in the living room of the Hu family's house, ready to marry his bride. Because of Hu Ran's brain, they did not even have a formal ceremony. They just went to register their marriage shabbily. Papa, who personally saw third brother off to the car, and waved goodbye to his daughter. Don't be sad. Xiao Ran has someone better to take care of her now. You can't take care of her forever. Papa, who nodded and held his wife's hand. You've worked hard all these years. Later, we should also plan to give Xiao Ran a younger brother. After hearing this, the stepmother's eyes lit up. Qinlan, a few years ago, I had no choice but to do it for Xiao Ran. Don't take it to heart. It's okay. I know you love Xiao Ran. However, since that fool had left the house, he could forget about ever coming back. Third brother was unaware that they had gone to look for Hu Ran, and was bringing her to the Civil Affairs Bureau for registration. On the other hand, Hu Ran felt upset when she saw third brother. This man must be suffering, because he could not marry the woman he liked. Xiao Ran, can you listen to me when we get to the Civil Affairs Bureau? Let me eat and play games with you from now on. Are you willing? I like him. I'm willing. Hu Ran answered innocently, and it was precisely because Hu Ran was so cooperative that the marriage registration was a simple matter. Third brother had never thought that he would get married just like that, and it was very sad when he thought about it now. Are you happy that Xiao Ran is my wife now? Hu Ran held the marriage certificate, but did not answer third brother's question, and simply gave him a hug. Xiao Ran will be very, very good to you. Was that the only consolation he had? Third brother smiled bitterly, and the two returned to the Sheng residence. Meanwhile, Gu Xiling had already prepared their new house. You're back. Go see grandfather. Third brother brought Hu Ran to the living room and handed the marriage certificate to the old man, because he knew very well that the old man was afraid that they were faking it. It's good that you're married. Third brother, you and Xiao Ran should start a family as soon as possible from now on. It's your big day today. Bring Xiao Ran to your room to celebrate. After all, the old man believed that Hu Ran would need time and guidance in that regard, which was why he had the couple return to their room to nurture their relationship. Grandfather, there are some things that men and women shouldn't talk about. I'm sure third brother would be too embarrassed to say it, which is why let me do it for him as his sister-in-law. Gu Xiling suddenly suggested to the old man. Old Sheng thought about it, and found it reasonable. If that's the case, you two should get along well. Third brother, play chess with me. Gu Xiling walked up to Hu Ran, intending to take her away from third brother. However, third brother refused. Grandfather, I would teach my wife since she's mine. There's no need to trouble second sister. After all, he did not know what Gu Xiling was up to behind his back, and Hu Ran was no match for her now. Your second sister is doing it for your own good. But do whatever you want. The old man did not insist. After that, third brother brought Hu Ran back to their room. It was only after they closed the door that third brother helped Hu Ran sit on the sofa and told her, Xiao Ran, don't trust anyone in this house. No matter how nice the people you met just now are to you. You must remember what I told you. Don't believe a word they say. Hu Ran scratched her hair and looked at third brother in confusion. But why? Daddy said that I must listen to my family. There's no why. Just promise me, all right? Hu Ran hesitated for a moment before she finally nodded. All right then. Also, little brother, Ashio told me that from now on, we'll bathe and sleep together. Is that true? Third brother could only answer Hu Ran's question. Big brother will take care of you like Xiao. Are you happy? Xiao Ran is very happy. Third brother breathed a sigh of relief and got up to open the wardrobe in their new room. He could not help feeling embarrassed when he saw that both he and Hu Ran had half of their clothes, with some of them being female undergarments. After all, Hu Ran's mind was still young, but she had a mature woman's body. If he took care of her, she would definitely. Chapter 471. No. From now on, Xiao Ran will be your only little brother. Third brother took out a set of home clothes from his wardrobe and returned to Hu Ran. The dress you're wearing would definitely be uncomfortable. Do you know how to change into this, Xiao Ran? I do, Hu Ran said, tugging at the clothes. In truth, Hu Ran thought that third brother would cut off everything in the past, including his lover, for the sake of their marriage. And that only made her feel even more guilty. That was why she would never refuse third brother's requests, nor would she deliberately tease him. Still, the situation they were in now was really awkward, and third brother was taking care of her like a child. In fact, that lover of his was quite beautiful. Now that we have third young madam in the house, even if she's not very bright and easy to coax, you guys had better keep your spirits up and take good care of her. In the living room, the butler was reprimanding the servants. Even so, his choice of words made third brother uncomfortable. That was why he turned and told the butler, "Don't let me hear anything like not bright in the future." Understood, third young master. With that, third brother was about to leave when Gu Xiling suddenly asked him, "Are you sure you don't need my help?" Second sister-in-law, you seem to be very interested in the affairs between husband and wife. Is this a normal relationship between husband and wife? Gu Xiling smiled. Isn't having a wife the same as not having one? Otherwise, why would you come out when grandfather told you to rest in the room, and even plan to go out? Third brother did not explain, and left Hu Ran behind. But soon he returned to the room, holding a girl's things in his hand. After all, Hu Ran had said that her stomach was not feeling well when she changed her clothes, but was too shy to tell him where it was. It was only when third brother saw the blood stains in the bathroom that he realized that the little girl was having her period and was holding it in. That was why he went out to buy a girl's personal items. Hu Ran was rolling around on the bed in pain, and third brother quickly did some research and applied a hot compress on her to ease her pain. Little brother, is Xiao Ran going to die? Third brother sat on the bed and hugged Hu Ran, massaging her abdomen. Xiao Ran won't die. She's very healthy. Hu Ran's face was completely red. She lay on the bed in pain for a few hours before falling into a deep sleep. Third brother heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Hu Ran closing her eyes. This was his new wife. For the whole day, Grandpa Sheng did not ask about them. Lunch and dinner were sent to the new house by the servants. In the middle of the night, Hu Ran opened her eyes and saw third brother leaning on the chaise lounge. She could not bear to see him like this. However, she wasn't faking her menstrual cramps. However, she did not expect that this third young master would not be afraid of getting dirty and have the patience to take care of a fool like her. So while third brother was asleep, she got up from the bed and pulled the blanket over him. At the same time, she began to hesitate. Should she tell this generous third young master that she was pretending to be a fool and sign a divorce agreement with him? Hu Ran quietly rejected the idea after thinking about it for a while. She did not really understand third brother and did not want to take the risk. That night, everyone in the Sheng family was talking about whether third young master could consummate his marriage with a fool, and whether their child would be a fool too. When third brother walked out of his room the next day, he found the servants cleaning outside the door. But they were actually eavesdropping. Third brother's face did not look good. He brought Hu Ran to the dining room. "Xiao Ran, it's time for breakfast. Did you sleep well last night?" Hu Ran blushed when she remembered how third brother massaged her abdomen. She answered Grandpa Sheng, "Xiao Ran slept well." She looked as if something had happened between her and third brother. Everyone was shocked. "It's good that you slept well. From now on, this is your home, Xiao Ran." Hu Ran deliberately pretended not to understand and smiled foolishly. Third brother pretended not to hear the question and continued eating his breakfast. "Since you are married to Xiao Ran, you should find some time to return to your post. Xiao Ran has a family to take care of her." Third brother shook his head at the old man's words. "There's no rush. Xiao Ran is unfamiliar with the place and the people. I'll let her get used to it before I can relax." Third brother, I couldn't tell that you care so much about Xiao Ran. Well, do as you please. Hu Ran ate her breakfast innocently, pretending not to know or care about anyone. Meanwhile, third brother only cared about Hu Ran's meals, completely ignoring the discussion about Huang Yao between Sheng Kai and the old man. This was the difference between being favored and not favored. Hu Ran finally understood third brother's position in the Sheng family. They were both grandchildren, but the old man found second brother the best wife and helped him to the throne of Huang Yao's CEO. But when it came to third brother, The old man was only matched with a foolish girl and a dispensable post. He was a pitiful man. But how could she help him? Most importantly, she did not know what third brother needed now that he had no desires. Or was it to let him meet his lover to ease his feelings of lovesickness? Little bro, Xiao Ran is going to a hobby class later. Could you come with me? As a matter of fact, she would not need anyone's company when they got there. And third brother could meet the girl he liked then. All right. Third brother agreed without hesitation. She was helping third brother to meet the girl he liked. It was a show of her sincerity, because she would definitely need third brother's help when the time came. But little did she know that she had misunderstood the relationship between third brother and Mu Chichi from start to finish. The truth was that Mu Chichi really missed third brother. There was no telling when Miss Who would lay her cards on the table with third brother, and was afraid that she would toy with him. Seeing that, Sheng Xiao could not help telling her, "If you're really worried that Miss Who would misunderstand about what happened 2 nights ago, I'll arrange a meeting with third brother tomorrow to clarify things." "Let's clarify. I don't want to cause any misunderstanding," Mu Chichi said as she wrapped her arms around Sheng Xiao's neck. Now the news of third brother marrying a silly girl is spreading like wildfire. They even said that their children will be silly too. Moreover, the Sheng family still has monsters like Gu Xiling and sixth brother. Come down. Isn't the forensics lab busy lately? You haven't even left the house yet. Sheng Xiao could not move at all with his little one wrapped around him. Chapter 472. But I have an important meeting at 9. Sheng Xiao replied, cupping her bum. Secretary, he is there too. After hearing that, Mu Chichi jumped down from Sheng Xiao's body and wrapped her arms around his waist. Then you go. Or do you want to go back to your room and have 300 rounds? Mu Chichi looked at his half-smile and promptly let go of him as if nothing had happened, muttering to herself. The professor told me to go early today. I should be going out too. A fool who had the guts to start a fire, but not the guts to put it out. Soon third brother and Hu Ran left the Sheng family's house, and when they reached the manga hobby class, Hu Ran chased third brother away. Little brother, you can go play by yourself, and come get me in 2 hours. I'll stay here with you. It's fine. I don't want anyone to disturb me when I'm drawing. You can go play by yourself. Hu Ran hoped that third brother would seize the opportunity to meet his sweetheart. That was why she closed the door after entering the drawing room. As expected, third brother did not follow her, but sat on the wooden stool outside the drawing room. Perhaps hidden by the tree, Hu Ran assumed that he had left. Sister Hu, don't be so shy. Everyone is saying that you've slept with a man and would have a silly baby. Hu Ran was taken aback. Even children these days knew how to tease others about such things. Hu Ran didn't want to argue with the children, so she retreated to the side. However, the 2 children didn't let it go. They splashed the gouache paint on Hu Ran. Idiot, you're an idiot. My mom said that you're already in your 20s, yet you're still learning comics from children. Aren't you ashamed? Unable to hold back, Hu Ran pushed open the door to the drawing room. But she did not expect third brother to turn around from beneath the tree. He did not leave. Third brother promptly put away his phone when he saw the paint all over Hu Ran, and walked to her. Xiao Ran, what happened? Little brother, I was bullied, Hu Ran said, sounding extremely aggrieved. The children called me an idiot and a fool. Third brother walked up to her and picked her up. You're still on your period. Don't catch a cold. Go back and change first. As for the children, I'll discipline them for them if their parents don't know how to discipline them. Hu Ran could not say anything. For a moment when she saw third brother, she suddenly did not know how to act. Soon, third brother brought Hu Ran home, and placed her back in their new room amidst the surprised looks of the servants. Thanks to Gu Xiling, their room was equivalent to a suite. Of course, there was a big enough bathroom. Take off your clothes and bathe yourself. Can you? Hu Ran nodded. I can wash myself. I'll wait for you outside. Since Hu Ran could not take a bath, she could only take a shower. Still, she sighed deeply when she remembered that third brother did not visit his lover. Why was this man so stubborn? He was given such a good opportunity, but he didn't go. After the shower, Hu Ran returned to the bedroom, where third brother was drying her hair with a dry towel. Tell me if anyone scolds you. Little brother will stand up for you. Little brother has grievances too, don't you? Hu Ran asked tentatively. Little brother has no desires. There was nothing sadder than a dead heart. It was only then that one would have no desires. Hu Ran could feel that third brother was very patient with her. But there was not a hint of true love. He was simply fulfilling his duty as a husband. That was why Hu Ran, who had her back to third brother, suddenly turned and reached out to stroke his cheek. Little brother is not happy, and Xiao Ran is not happy either. That has nothing to do with you. Come, dry your hair. Little brother must be laughed at for marrying Xiao Ran, just like how the children laughed at me today. It's fine. It will all pass. Third brother replied nonchalantly. Well, do you have anything you want, little brother? Xiao Ran can do magic for you. Third brother thought about it and laughed self-deprecatingly. I don't have anything I want. It's fine as long as Xiao Ran is happy. Even though the Sheng family appeared to be treating third brother the same as before, Hu Ran knew that after third brother married a fool like her, the Sheng family would avoid her whenever they went out, as if afraid that they would have anything to do with the fool. If she were third brother, she would think of every way she could to torture herself. Would she even have the chance to dry her hair gently like this? That was why she was not wrong about this man. Since we can't go to the hobby class today, let's go for a walk in the garden, shall we? Don't you have to work, little brother? When I was at home, Xiao Ran couldn't see my father all day. The Sheng family doesn't need me. Let's go. How tragic was life? Third brother simply said that the Sheng family didn't need him. Both of them arrived at the garden. The sun was warm, but just as they sat on the floor, third brother suddenly saw Gu Xiling waving at him. Third brother approached Gu Xiling reluctantly and asked impatiently, "What is it? Did you know that Grandpa transferred your father to a Middle Eastern country? Doesn't Grandpa know that it's not safe there?" Third brother panicked. "It must be an important mission. I'm just telling you." Third brother nodded and thanked Gu Xiling with his hands on his hips. "Thanks, second sister. One more thing. Although Grandpa has freed you, he still doesn't trust you. He doesn't need you to do anything for Huang Yao either. And he simply doesn't want any of the Sheng family's descendants to join Sheng Xiao. With your current situation, you might have to live the rest of your life in silence, if you have another burden." Third brother watched Hu Ran from afar as she played by herself, and said, "I don't think she's a burden. I would have a hard life if I thought so too. Suit yourself." The main reason he stayed with the Sheng family was because he didn't want old Sheng to trouble his parents too much, so that they could relax a little. Even so, he didn't expect that old Sheng would not spare his parents easily even if he stayed with the Sheng family. Hu Ran could see third brother's dark expression from afar, and guessed that something must have happened to him. But when he returned to Hu Ran's side, he said nothing, and told her to hold it in. That man was such a fool. In fact, the old man's decisions were confidential, and only Sheng Kai knew about it. And yet, Gu Xiling deliberately told third brother about it. Why? Perhaps watching others suffer was one of her hobbies now. After all, Sheng Kai couldn't give her a child. In order to stabilize her position, she couldn't let third brother and Grandpa Sheng get along well. Even if Hu Ran's child might be mentally retarded, she couldn't rule out the possibility that the child would be healthy and get Grandpa Sheng's love. Chapter 473. What's wrong, little brother? Third brother said nothing, and kept Hu Ran company after they returned to the grass. Knowing that he was in a bad mood, Hu Ran did not disturb him too much. Still, Hu Ran was already lying on the bed when they rested at night, while third brother sat blankly on the headboard, watching Hu Ran sleep even though he was not sleepy at all. On the next day, Hu Ran woke up early and helped third brother to his bed, before going out to get breakfast. Meanwhile, Gu Xiling and Sheng Kai were already having breakfast in the dining room. "Third sister-in-law, come and have breakfast," Gu Xiling called. At that moment Sheng Kai stood up. Obviously, he was going to work at Huang Yao. So, only Hu Ran and Gu Xiling were left at the dining table. "Why don't I see third brother?" Little brother is in a bad mood. He didn't sleep last night. Hu Ran deliberately tried to get information out of third brother. After Gu Xiling and third brother's conversation yesterday, third brother was a little dispirited. Of course, his parents have been transferred to work in the Middle East, where there is war at any time. Sister-in-law, you'd better be obedient and don't give him any pressure. Grandpa is now guarding against third brother. He doesn't like third brother and treats him like a living dead. His only use is to marry you. Moreover, outsiders are mocking him now. Don't you think he would get sick if this goes on? The scariest thing is that he still has to take care of you. Gu Xiling did not finish the last word, because Hu Ran's expression was so innocent that one would think that she did not hear a word she said. Gu Xiling felt as if she was playing the lute to a cow. Well, big sister, could you make my little brother happy? I think he's happiest when he's with you now. Gu Xiling was mocking Hu Ran for being a child, while third brother would be carefree when he was with a child. Hu Ran could feel the pessimism and despair in the depths of third brother's heart when he sat on the headboard for an entire night. Staying in such a home, he would certainly go crazy. Of course he would. That was why Hu Ran made a decision in that instant. If third brother went to the Hu family with her, he would be free from the Sheng family's control. There was no telling if he would be willing, but he still had a girl he liked. Third brother was woken up by Sheng Zhao's phone call. He asked Hu Ran to join him for dinner. Third brother sat up on the bed and looked for Hu Ran. He thought that she had run away, so he got up anxiously to look for her. Fortunately, he met Hu Ran at the door with breakfast in her hands. Where did you go? Little brother, I've brought you breakfast. Hu Ran waved the tray in her hand. Come and eat. It's delicious. When Hu Ran put down the things in her hands, third brother immediately hugged her. Don't go out when I'm not around. I don't want to be unable to protect you. When Hu Ran heard this, her heart was moved. She had never thought that she would marry such a heart-wrenching man. Xiao Ran will listen to you. She won't run around. Third brother realized that his hug might have been too aggressive, so he let go of her and sat down in front of the small wooden table. Thank you, Xiao Ran. Hu Ran forced a smile, and very much wanted to hug third brother from behind. Can I call you third brother from now on? Call me whatever you like. Third brother was fine with it. Xiao Ran won't let anyone bully you. Third brother couldn't help chuckling at that. Maybe I really need your protection, Xiao Ran. You have to pull yourself together, third brother. It was clear how cold-blooded old Sheng was, that he would place someone else's parents in such a dangerous place. But if she didn't help third brother, then no one would help him. That was why she had to think of a way to get old Sheng to transfer them back. Even so, there had to be no trace of it. Even as Hu Ran thought about it, she realized that she had been worrying too much when she came to her senses. After all, she and third brother would eventually divorce, and third brother already had a girl he loved. Even so, when she saw that the lonely and helpless figure was so similar to how she used to be, she could not bear to see third brother stay silent. Well, whatever happened to her and third brother in the end, she was willing to do her part, because her new husband had never shown her any bad side. In the evening, third brother brought Hu Ran out of the house. Naturally, no one knew. After all, there was now a special person in the house. Now, old Sheng did not care if third brother would join them for dinner, because Hu Ran was like a child who needed company. That gave third brother the chance to bring Hu Ran out. Who are we meeting, third brother? A pair of good friends. Third brother answered even as he led Hu Ran into the hotel. Meanwhile, Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi were already waiting respectfully in a private room. Soon they entered the private room. Hu Ran did a double take when she saw Mu Qiqi. Was this man going to introduce his old flame to her? Was he that direct? Of course, she only thought that Mu Qiqi knew that she was pretending to be dumb, and felt a little guilty. She did not see Sheng Xiao hugging Mu Qiqi, but she could not ignore the noble and possessive man beside Mu Qiqi. You're here. Xiao Ran, this is eighth brother, and this is our little sister-in-law. Third brother introduced them to Hu Ran. Hu Ran did a double take. Wasn't she an old flame? She had been thinking for the past few days, but Mu Qiqi smiled. I've met third sister-in-law before. When? Third brother asked Muchichi in surprise. It was a coincidence, Muchichi explained. But in fact, she was hinting at the night of their wedding. Why did you suddenly ask us out for dinner? Third brother still did not know Xingzhao's intention. Could it be that he wanted to be alone with Hu Ran? There are some things that I didn't make clear. I'm afraid of misunderstanding, Xingzhao said meaningfully. Actually, I've met third sister-in-law with Xiao Qi'er. Hu Ran should understand now that he said that, right? They went together that night. Third brother did not have a flame at all. Hu Ran did not know whether to laugh or cry at the mistake she made. No wonder third brother did not contact his old flame no matter how hard she tried. It turned out that she had misunderstood, and it was clear from the conversation between the two that they did not intend to expose her playing dumb. What did you not make clear? Are you two going to play tricks today? You're blind. What can you do? Xingzhao snorted. Third sister-in-law is quite cute. Muchichi tried to smooth things over for them. Third brother turned to look at Hu Ran. He found that she was not used to meeting strangers. So he explained, Xiao Ran, I'm very close to them. Don't you like them? Hu Ran shook her head. I don't dislike them. Chapter 474. You're married now, and you have someone you need to take care of. Don't you have any plans? Xingzhao looked at them. It was clear that both of them were still unaware of their marriage. Because with your current situation, you might not even be able to take care of third sister-in-law. Third brother laughed self-deprecatingly at that. You're right. My parents have been transferred to the Middle East, and you know that there's a war raging there at any moment. But what can I do? I'm just an idler who needs to take care of my wife in the Sheng family now. You need someone to work with you if you want to change the situation. Xingzhao looked at Hu Ran as he said that. But you won't be able to achieve anything if you're alone, and keep your guard up. No, why are the things you said tonight so strange? After all, Xingzhao's words were not meant for him to hear at all. What's second brother's situation now? Muchichi knew that Hu Ran did not trust third brother enough, and so changed the topic. He's becoming more and more like grandfather, and he has second sister-in-law who loves to see the world in chaos by his side. What could possibly happen? Even Lin Mu and knows how to seek protection. If you have any plans, just give me a call. Xingzhao said to third brother. If you give in, the Shengs will only take a mile after giving an inch. You know that better than anyone else. I'm afraid that you'll be checked if you're out for too long. Go back. Qi'er, we're going home too. With that, Xingzhao got up and put his arm around Muchichi's waist, and they left the hotel intimately, leaving Hu Ran and third brother spacing out in front of a table full of delicious dishes. The two of them said a lot of strange things. Why did they leave just like that? They didn't even eat. After all, they were not here to see him. They were here to clarify their relationship with Hu Ran. Xiao Ran, let's go home too. All right, third brother. Hu Ran had no objections. Soon, they reached the main entrance of Sheng Mansion. That was when Sheng Kai told third brother in the living room. Let's go to the study. Grandfather wants to see you. Third brother did a double take. Thinking that the old man was asking where he and Hu Ran were going, he told Hu Ran, Xiao Ran, can you go back to your room first? I'll be with you later. Hu Ran also had a lot of things to figure out, so she nodded. Then third brother, come back soon. Third brother turned around and went to Grandpa Sheng's study. At this time, Hu Ran quickly returned to the new house and turned on the computer to check on Xingzhao. Everyone knew about him and Muchichi. However, she had pretended to be a fool for 2 years and missed it. So this was the famous crown prince of the Sheng family. And the story between him and Muchichi was also talked about by many people. And from their relationship just now, Hu Ran could tell that they were in love. In that case, her new husband's emotional world was really a blank. If that was the case, she didn't have to feel guilty. But when she thought of the man who was restricted in every way, she felt inexplicably sad. She didn't know how third brother would be embarrassed in the study. Third brother also thought that he was going to be embarrassed. But when Grandpa Sheng called him in, he said, although I am very strict with you, it's almost time for you to go back to work in Huangyao. Now that your second brother needs a deputy CEO, only you can take this position. I can only be at ease if the Sheng family's business is managed by the Sheng family. As for Xiao Ran, just spend more time with her after work. I will ask Xiling to arrange a maid to take care of her. Or you can find a reliable person to take care of her. Third brother stood there in a daze, thinking that he had misheard. Was Grandpa Sheng asking him to go back to Huang Yao to take up an important position? Wait for 2 days, when Xiao Ran is more familiar with it. You have to go back to work yourself. Tell your second brother. Grandpa Sheng didn't care about such trivial things. But because of Grandpa Sheng's kind attitude, he found it a little unbelievable. Was Grandpa Sheng not afraid that he would collude with Sheng Xiao? Walking out of Grandpa Sheng's study, third brother saw Sheng Kai at the door. Grandpa asked you to come back to work, right? When are you going to take up your post? We'll see, third brother said. He wanted to know why Grandpa Sheng would do such a thing. Therefore, when he returned to his room, third brother tried calling his parents, but there was no answer. That was when Hu Ran walked up to third brother, tugging at his sleeve and asking. Third brother wasn't bullied, was he? Third brother shook his head. He found it weird, which was why he tried calling his parents that night. But there was no answer even when the next morning arrived. Third brother was very worried, and wanted to ask Sheng Kai about it. But just as he reached the dining room, the old man hit him with his walking stick. Third brother was forced to kneel on the floor before he could react. Grandpa, this has nothing to do with third brother, don't take it out on him. What happened? Third brother looked up at Grandpa Sheng and Sheng Kai blankly. You're asking what happened? Your parents abandoned the entire team and ran away with Huang Yao's funds. Grandpa Sheng said angrily. Third brother, don't tell me this has nothing to do with you. I couldn't get through to them the whole day yesterday, and was about to ask second brother if he knew. Third brother explained. You still want to pretend in front of me? Grandpa Sheng shoved Sheng Kai away, and used his walking stick to hit third brother hard. He was a completely different person from the one who told third brother to go to work yesterday. Perhaps hearing the commotion, Hu Ran quickly went to the living room to find third brother kneeling on the floor. Why did you hit third brother? You're all bad people. I'm telling my father. Grandpa Sheng only put away his walking stick when he saw Hu Ran protecting third brother. Grandpa, this matter isn't clear yet. What if it really has nothing to do with third brother? Grandpa Sheng looked to the side. In the end, he only said one sentence, get lost. For Xiao Ran's sake. Third brother sneered and rose to his feet, before returning to his room with Hu Ran's help. Hu Ran felt terrible when she saw him sitting on the bed like that. After all, she had never seen a grandfather treat his own grandson like that. At this time, Gu Xiling knocked on the door of their room and brought in the medicine. Your second brother asked you to send this. Thank you, second sister. Actually, your parents called me yesterday afternoon and asked if they could retreat from the Middle East because it's too dangerous. But Grandpa did not agree. After saying this, Gu Xiling left the room. Her meaning could not be clearer. His parents had requested to retreat because of the danger, but Grandpa would not agree. Chapter 475. Even though third brother knew that Gu Xiling's words could only be half believed, his heart was still in turmoil. Unable to stand it, Hu Ran went up to him and hugged him. Third brother, don't be sad. Third brother smiled, but there were tears at the corner of his eyes. Eighth brother is right. I might not be able to protect you, Xiao Ran. Then let's protect each other, Hu Ran's naive gaze suddenly faded, and she looked at third brother seriously. Third brother looked at her in confusion, but she held his hand instead. Although I don't know how your brother knew I was faking it, I have to admit that he is really good. No one suspected me over the last 2 years, except for your brother and your little sister-in-law. You. I'm just pretending, Hu Ran replied to third brother. Third brother laughed self-deprecatingly at that. So you lied to everyone? Third brother, let me finish. I was forced to play dumb, or I would have died thousands of times over. Do you know? My stepmother tried to kill me time and time again. She drugged my food, fed me food that was incompatible with mine, and even hired a killer to crash my car, causing me to have a car accident. If I didn't pretend to be stupid, I wouldn't have lived until now. So please forgive me for having no other choice. Third brother nodded at that. I understand. So, use me. Use me to do many things you want. Huran told him. Didn't your brother ask you to contact him? You can use me as an excuse to meet him and plan your grand scheme. Third brother was shocked at that. Why are you telling me all this? Aren't you afraid? I'm married to you now, and I'm a member of the Sheng family. Even if my stepmother learns that I've recovered, it wouldn't be easy for her to do anything to me. That's why I'm willing to marry you. I want to stay alive. Your brother is right. We all have our own goals. If we want to achieve them, we have to be on the same path. Otherwise, even if we have strength, it will be wasted because of what happened today. So, I've decided to tell you about me pretending to be a fool. Do you want to work with me to change your situation? Anyway, I can't stand it anymore. Do you want to be tortured like this for the rest of your life? It wasn't your or your parents' fault, but in the end, it became your fault. Don't you feel like living like this is torturous? Third brother lowered his head helplessly. Of course it's torturous. Since it's torturous, are you willing to change everything with me? I'll help you fight for a position in the Sheng family. And you'll protect me until I kick that woman out of the Hu family and get her punishment. You believe that I can protect you? Third brother did not believe himself. I believe you. Huran looked at third brother sincerely. I think your brother and sister-in-law want us to be honest with each other. That's why we met yesterday. Then what about our marriage? If you don't mind me and don't have a girl you like, why don't you try it with me? I've never liked anyone either. If we still can't become a real husband and wife in the end, then we'll set each other free, okay? It seemed that Huran had thought too much. How do you want to change my situation? Huran sat down beside third brother. After a moment of silence, she said, I've observed you for a few days. I don't think your relationship with Grandpa is that bad. You just don't want to cater to Grandpa. And second sister-in-law is stirring things up. So the conflict between you two will only increase. If you are really thinking about your parents and want to protect the people you think are important to you, why don't you try to take revenge first? Perhaps right now, every word you say to your enemy and every smile you show is disgusting. I've been disgusted for 2 years, but I still feel that it's more important to get what you want. It's never too late for a gentleman to take his revenge. You're right. So, the first thing we need to do now is to get rid of second sister-in-law. Although we always get the news through her, we must let your grandfather know her purpose and what role she played in the middle. Don't let him suspect you every time. Looking at Huran's current state and the way she pretended to be a fool, it was a world of difference. It must be hard for you to pretend to be a fool these 2 years, isn't it? It's hard. But no one recognized me, except for your little brother. Huran answered. I know you are worried about your parents now. You are afraid that something will happen to them, and that the Sheng family will find them. I think we can ask your little brother for help. Isn't it beneficial for us if your parents are not in the Sheng family? If my parents really ran away, I don't need to stay in the Sheng family anymore. After all, he was willing to marry Huran for his parents' sake. Huran was disappointed but not angry. I understand what you are thinking. If you really want to leave the Sheng family, but now I don't want to leave. Didn't you ask me to work with you? I agreed. Third brother. I've said that I will be responsible for my wife since I'm married. What do you want to do with second sister-in-law? Huran looked at third brother seriously. When she was sure that he was not joking, she leaned over and whispered into his ear. I'm still a fool when it comes to outsiders. Don't let more people know about this. That way we can cover it up. I'll go to your grandfather and fight for you. I'll let him know about what second sister-in-law has revealed. Then second sister-in-law will target you. If she targets me, it will be easier for us to find her weakness. Huran answered. After all, in her eyes, I'm a fool. It's not too much for me to make a fool of myself. Third brother held Huran's hand. Before this, I said that I would protect you, but I can't believe it. Because I have nothing now, but from now on, I can let go of my reluctance and play along with you no matter what. Is this considered protecting you? Yes. Huran nodded. But there's one thing. We can lie to others, but we can't lie to each other. Can you do it? Or else, I don't know what's the point of me staying. Chapter 476. That was certainly not a problem, because third brother believed that he should maintain the way he treated Huran before she decided to make it public. Otherwise, wouldn't he be harming Huran if he exposed himself in front of outsiders? So he nodded his head solemnly. Then you have to tell me in detail how you managed to escape from your stepmother's schemes. Huran also nodded. Then, she began to recall the unpleasant experiences in her life. It was a little stuffy in the room with the heater on at night. It was already 11 o'clock when Mu Qiqi ended the call with Lu Qianqian. Sheng Xiao returned to his room and saw the excited smile on his little one's face. He could guess what she had talked about with Lu Qianqian. Do you women always like to talk about your private affairs? Every woman has the right to flaunt their happiness. Mu Qiqi retorted, putting away her phone. Lu Qianqian is here to ask about experience? You know about that too. Mu Qiqi was taken aback. Xiao Xiao, tell me, can you see through people's hearts? Sheng Xiao sat on the edge of the bed and pulled Mu Qiqi into his arms, letting her head rest on his thighs. Actually, it's not hard to guess at all. Lu Qianqian is attending the board meeting tomorrow, and Lin Mu, and would definitely do something to encourage her today. How boring. I hope that everyone around me can be happy. I wonder if this miss who could think things through and stand on third brother's side. Otherwise, how hard would third brother's days be? Mu Qiqi lay on Sheng Xiao's body, her voice clearly muffled. Sheng Xiao reached out to stroke Mu Qiqi's hair. It was dark and soft, and her scent flowed through his fingers, leaving him very emotional. You always think of others. Do you remember what I said before? We'll register our marriage abroad on your 20th birthday. Is that piece of paper really that important? Mu Qiqi turned over and asked Sheng Xiao. Moreover, the country won't acknowledge it. What? You don't care about me now? How could I not want you? I just want you too much. That's why I feel that a piece of paper is useless. Because I believe in our relationship. Mu Qiqi quickly hugged his waist. It's good now. I feel safe. However, Sheng Xiao held her butt and said, that won't do. I don't have it. What if you run away one day? If I run away, can't you just catch me and bring me back? Mu Qiqi yawned in his arms. Xiao Xiao, I'm sleepy, let's rest. Sheng Xiao nodded and asked her to lie down on the bed. After she closed her eyes, he went to the bathroom, washed up, and went to bed. The two of them looked like an old married couple. Sheng Xiao looked at this and felt a little helpless. She did not want to register her marriage with him. This was too much for CEO Sheng to handle. On the other hand, Lin Muan knew that Lu Qianqian was going to the board meeting tomorrow, so he came back to accompany her. Mama Lu cooked their favorite dishes for them, and the family of three enjoyed the meal warmly and peacefully. After the meal, Mama Lu went to talk to her neighbor, while Lin Muan accompanied Lu Qianqian to the study to read the documents for tomorrow. Are you nervous? Lu Qianqian looked at Lin Muan beside her and nodded. I think I'm going for an interview. The people from Zhongting will be there too. They will help you. You don't have to be afraid. I know they will be there, but I still hope that I can convince those old antiques with my own ability. Lu Qianqian said seriously. Lu Qianqian said seriously. I want them to know that I'm not a silly girl or a vase. In the past 2 years, I've been seriously learning how to be a manager. Lin Muan hugged her and kissed her forehead. I believe you. It's so late. Aren't you going back to the police academy? Lu Qianqian asked Lin Muan after a while. She actually knew that this man was staying to accompany her. Is my girlfriend trying to drive me away? Of course I want you to stay. Lu Qianqian said honestly. Lin Muan held Lu Qianqian's head and pulled her closer to him, kissing her uncontrollably. They kissed passionately on the carpet in the study. Eventually, Lin Muan could not take it anymore and carried Lu Qianqian. Let's go back to the room. The bed in Lu Qianqian's room soon sank. Lu Qianqian's face was flushed and nervous as she lay flat on the bed, bearing the weight of 2 people. Some of the things Mu Chichi had taught her flashed through her mind, such as looking for a man's sensitive spots. But when it really came to that moment, she suddenly panicked and did not know where to put her hands and feet. You need to breathe, Lin Mu, and quickly reminded her when he saw her holding her breath. Lu Qianqian was a little embarrassed. Both of them were almost unrestrained, which made her even more embarrassed. Lin Mu and was a little uncomfortable when he saw her like that. But that discomfort was jealousy that others had seen such a beautiful side of Lu Qianqian. Both of their bodies were pressed against each other, and their body temperature was high. But Lin Mu and held Lu Qianqian's hands and said, "Now we are boyfriend and girlfriend. So when I see you, I can't help but want to eat you up. But even if you believe me, I still hope that everything will happen naturally when I can give you a guarantee. I will be happier then. So tonight is just to relieve the pain of lovesickness. I am very satisfied to be able to hug you and have a good sleep." Lu Qianqian could feel his excitement and could feel his thoughtfulness. "Then let's sleep. Don't move. Otherwise I can't guarantee if I can hold it back." Lin Muan turned to the side and held Lu Qianqian in his arms. Both of them were naked and stuck together, but he still maintained his rationality. Lu Qianqian was relieved and put her arms around Lin Muan's waist. She was not shy at all. She only felt safe because this man made her feel that he was worth it. This night was the most difficult night of Lin Muan's life, wasn't it? Hugging the girl he loved, but could only kiss and rub against her. It was a fatal test for any man, but he endured it. The next morning, both of them woke up in each other's arms. Lin Muan looked at Lu Qianqian's chest and clicked his tongue. "I didn't see it last night. So it's just a small bun. You're just a chopstick." Lu Qianqian got up and grabbed her nightgown. But at that moment, Lin Muan threw her nightgown away and pressed her under his body, continuing to kiss her madly. Chapter 477. And when Lu Qianqian had successfully taken over Lu Holdings, he intended to formally propose to her. He intended to officially shoulder the responsibility of being Lu Qianqian's fiancé. Actually, Lin Mu and was not the only one who could not sleep that night. Hu Ran and third brother had a long talk at the Sheng residence and did not sleep at all. They talked openly to each other to better understand each other and to nurture their relationship. And it was precisely because they were kindred spirits that they sympathized with each other. But soon, Gu Xiling knocked on their door. "Third brother, Grandpa wants you to go to the living room." Third brother went to the bedroom to wash his face and shared a look with Hu Ran. Hu Ran understood what he meant. They were going to tear Gu Xiling apart today. Third brother went to the living room as the old man told him to, only to find the old man sitting at the head of the table with a dark look on his face. "I've found your parents, and they're on their way back. I just want to ask you, what should we do with them?" "Third brother, you should know that I hate it when people betray the Sheng family. You can do whatever you want with them, Grandpa. Even if they are my parents, they are your sons." Third brother reminded old Sheng. "I can still remember the fire that engulfed Jing Ting even now. Grandpa, you must remember it clearly too, right? Don't think that I wouldn't dare to touch them." "Grandpa, before you touch them, can you answer a few questions for me? Why must you be so cruel to your own son? How could you turn a blind eye when he called for help? Is it because I'm close to eighth brother? You know very well why my parents would run away. The Middle East is a place where blood is shed at every turn. Why would my parents betray the Sheng family? It's because you sent them to their deaths, Grandpa." Old Sheng was enraged at that. "You know that too? Who told you that? You don't need to know how I know. I just know that you want to kill your son and daughter-in-law." Old Sheng was speechless. Only Sheng Kai and Gu Xiling knew about it. Third brother's parents did call, but they did not call for help. So why did third brother become the one who wanted to kill his own son? Gu Xiling's face darkened. Because she did not expect third brother to be so stupid that he almost sold her out. That was when Hu Ran came out of the room. When she saw third brother kneeling on the ground again, she immediately went up to him and hugged him. "You're bullying my third brother again. You're all bad people, all of you." Xiao Ran. "Grandpa is just asking your third brother a question." I don't believe you." Every time that big sister comes to pass on a message, nothing good comes out of it. Hu Ran pointed at Gu Xiling and said to everyone in the Sheng family, Grandpa is not a good person either. That sister said that third brother's parents called to come back, but Grandpa did not allow them to come back. He wants them to stay in a dangerous place. Grandpa Sheng's face turned pale. He immediately called out to Gu Xiling. Xiling, did you tell third brother about this? It's her, Hu Ran said childishly. Gu Xiling's heart raced, and she hurriedly stepped forward. Grandpa, I don't dare. What did you tell third brother? Gu Xiling was very hesitant. She gulped. I told him. She said this. Actually, your parents called yesterday afternoon and asked Grandpa if they could retreat from the Middle East because it's too dangerous. But Grandpa did not agree. Hu Ran deliberately mimicked Gu Xiling's tone when she answered Grandpa Sheng. No, that's not right. Grandpa, sister-in-law is wronging me. She's just a child. How could she remember so clearly? You're wrong. Xiao Ran's behavior is more convincing, because children are good at imitating others. Grandpa Shen replied to Gu Xiling. Why did you go to third brother and stir up trouble? So did my parents call for help or not? Third brother seized the opportunity to confirm the matter. They did call, but they called for more funds. They did not mention that they were in danger. Grandpa Sheng said to third brother. I know it's dangerous there, but the person in charge wanted to see the Sheng family. That's why I asked your parents to go. But it's hateful to run away with the money, so they are not as innocent as you think. I say, third brother's resentment towards me is growing by the day, and the gap between the two of them is also deepening. I thought it was third brother and eighth brother colluding, but I didn't expect you to play a part in it. Grandpa Sheng looked at Gu Xiling fiercely. Can't you see third brother doing well? Grandpa, I misunderstood. They are third brother's parents. I don't want them to be hurt. So you think you can sow discord in front of third brother? Gu Xiling, you have been married to the Sheng family for so long. Have I mistreated you? Why can't you see harmony in the family when you are the head of the family? Gu Xiling was startled. She quickly knelt. Grandpa, I was just blinded by greed. I won't do it again. You bully third brother and me. You call me a fool. Don't think I don't know. The people here are so weird. They bully me and third brother. I want to go home, sob. Hu Ran started crying in the living room. Grandpa Sheng glared at Gu Xiling and ordered. Don't get close to third brother, and Xiao Ran from now on. Do your job. Yes, Grandpa. And you third brother. Get up. Do you still hate me since there is a misunderstanding? I still hope that you won't hurt my parents, Grandpa. Third brother said pitifully. Grandpa Sheng took a deep breath. His heart softened. I never thought of hurting them. I will just discipline them more strictly. Thank you, Grandpa. Both of them had exposed Gu Xiling in front of the old man to blame all the grudges between the old man and third brother on Gu Xiling's sowing of discord. That way, the old man would not be so strict with third brother. Moreover, third brother had married Hu Ran. From today onwards, he would no longer be in such a difficult situation. Unfortunately, he had completely offended Gu Xiling, causing Gu Xiling to suffer in front of Grandpa Sheng. Still, if she did not add fuel to the fire, the relationship between third brother and Grandpa Sheng would not have deteriorated to such an extent. She did that so that Grandpa Sheng would not trust Gu Xiling that much. Gu Xiling was really angry about that. She had told third brother the news out of goodwill, but she did not expect him to bite back at her. Chapter 478. After Grandpa Sheng left, Gu Xiling walked to third brother and Hu Ran. She wanted to give third brother a slap to vent her anger, but Hu Ran was afraid that Gu Xiling would hurt third brother, so she pretended to protect him and stood in front of Gu Xiling. What do you want? This fool is good to you. Gu Xiling snorted and said to them, since you don't appreciate my kindness, and even want to drag me down with you, don't even think about getting any news from Grandpa from now on. Don't bully third brother. Just wait and see. Then, Gu Xiling left the living room and went back to her room to reflect on her mistakes. Hu Ran and third brother looked at each other and quickly returned to the new room. Are you all right? After they sat down, Hu Ran asked third brother. Did I go out a little late? No, it's just the right time. Third brother replied. We have offended second sister-in-law today. We have to be more careful in the future. Hu Ran nodded. Then, she remembered that they did not sleep last night. So she said to third brother. Since it's over, you should have a good sleep and recharge. Didn't you sleep last night? You can have the bed. I will sleep on the sofa. Then, third brother went to the sofa and lay down. Seeing that he had really fallen asleep, Hu Ran went to the bathroom to wash up. Although they had talked openly, they had only known each other for a few days. It would be awkward for them to sleep on the same bed all of a sudden. So Hu Ran did not force him. She waited until third brother fell asleep, before she lay down on the bed gently. So were they a fake couple? Or a real couple? On the other hand, Lu Qianqian's board meeting was held at 2:30 in the afternoon. In fact, it was just a greeting to the directors. She still had to wait for the inauguration conference to officially take over. Because of the inheritance left by Papa Lu, Lu Qianqian officially became the undisputed chairman of Lu Holdings. However, no one in Lu Holdings was convinced. She was just a little girl in her early 20s. She did not graduate from a famous university, nor was she a business genius. She did not even go to an ordinary university. What right did she have to become the new leader of Lu Holdings? In the hearts of the shareholders, there were thousands of grievances. If he had known this would happen, he would have disbanded Lu Enterprises earlier. It would have been better than being defeated by a little girl. Therefore, several shareholders already had plans to withdraw their investments. The brothers of Lu Holdings were waiting to watch a good show. The shareholders must have thought of many ways to make things difficult for Lu Qianqian. But because the people from Zhongting were there, they did not say anything. Now that Lu Enterprises is in such a situation, I think it's better to withdraw our investment as soon as possible to avoid heavy losses. What do you think? One of the shareholders simply said what was in his heart. Managing a company is not like dating or playing house. What's more, there are so many outstanding talents in Lu Enterprises. Why must the eldest daughter of the Lu family be a troublemaker? When the representative of Zhongting heard that, he said, if any of you are not convinced today, you can consider selling your shares to Zhongting. When the shareholders heard this, they were speechless and kept quiet. A moment later, Lu Qianqian, dressed in a white suit, entered the conference room of Lu Enterprises. Her long and narrow eyes glanced at all the directors present. Then, she sat down in the chairman's seat. But no one cared about her entering the conference room. They treated her as if she did not exist. Lu Qianqian coughed softly and said, Uncles, it seems that you are not used to seeing me sitting in this seat. I understand. After all, I am still young and inexperienced. I have not shown you my ability yet. It's my fault. What ability do you have? Falling in love with a man and impregnating yourself? The shareholders laughed when they heard that. But to Lu Qianqian, it was a malicious attack and humiliation. No matter how you look at it, you are my uncle. Don't you have any children? Lu Qianqian questioned him coldly. My daughter will not be like you. Everyone laughed again. But Lu Qianqian laughed too. So, do you think it's glorious for a group of men to humiliate a junior and bully a woman? If I were your daughter, I would feel that you are even more embarrassing. You are good at talking, but what about your ability? The youngest Lu uncle interrupted them. Now that you are the new chairman of Lu Holdings, do you think that you can improve Lu Holdings' performance just by sitting here and quarreling with everyone? I am just meeting everyone today and greeting them. The real fight will be after the inauguration conference. Lu Qianqian said to the crowd. If any one of you wants to quit Lu Holdings today, I won't say a word. For example, youngest uncle, you colluded with my father's lawyer and forged a suicide note. I haven't called the police yet. If I were you, I would sit here quietly today and not say a word, so as not to attract my attention. Because I, your niece, am prone to do wrong things when I am in a bad mood. The youngest Lu uncle's face changed instantly. There are some things I need to make clear in advance. We all know what the uncles of the Lu family are up to in Lu Holdings. I also know what you want. Lu Qianqian pointed at her head and said to the uncles sitting together. But I, Lu Qianqian, am not a soft persimmon that others can bully. The shareholders of Zhongting are here today, so I'll make it clear once and for all. If you do anything behind my back or form a faction behind my back, don't blame me for selling Lu Holdings and letting you get nothing. At the same time, I hope that the other directors can respect themselves. You are putting on a good show of authority. Let's wait and see. The directors folded their arms and sneered in their seats. You still have to wait for your inauguration press conference. But there are already many important things waiting to be dealt with. For example, the cooperation with Tianhong, and whether our amusement park should be developed or not. I'm afraid a young girl like you won't be able to understand these things. The cooperation with Tianhong must be terminated. Are you kidding me? The people of the Lu family refuted Lu Qianqian. That is a cooperation worth tens of billions. How can it be terminated just like that? A big project worth tens of billions? Do you think I don't know you? Lu Qianqian smiled. Don't you know Tianhong's reputation in the construction industry? Why don't you go to Hongsheng, which has the best reputation? Don't you know how much you want to get out of it? Safety first in the amusement park. Don't think that you can get away with it just because my father is gone. Lu Qianqian's words shocked everyone. Let's put this case aside for now. When I take office, I will restart it. So is there anything that the deputy CEO can't handle now? Chapter 479. I'll say this first. If any of you want to make things difficult for me, then say it clearly today. Don't come looking for trouble with me after I've already taken office. At that time, I won't acknowledge it anymore. I really couldn't tell that my little niece is so capable. Is it Chief Sheng of Zhongting, who is guiding you behind the scenes? Second uncle of the Lu family shrugged. But you'd rather trust an outsider than your uncle. I don't believe that Zhongting has no ambition or purpose. When that time comes, you'll be crying. Whether or not I have someone from Zhongting guiding me behind the scenes, everyone will know after I take office. What I can guarantee now is that I won't be able to produce beautiful results in a short period of time, but I will work hard to maintain it until my father is still alive. I will give you 3 months to familiarize yourself with all the business of Lu Holdings. If you can't meet the requirements and stand out in the business after 3 months, I will withdraw my investment. Some rational shareholders were willing to give Lu Qianqian the chance. Of course, some of them were Papa Lu's old friends, who also wanted to see Lu Qianqian holding up the family business. Then let's set the limit of 3 months. We won't simply reject your decision in these 3 months. But you have to pay the price for your decision. Don't blame us for not reminding you that the business world is like a battlefield. Everyone's money is their life's blood and sweat. We don't want to spend it on a little girl like you. Do you understand? Lu Qianqian nodded. I accept your challenge. But uncles, if I find out that you have done anything to harm Lu Holdings behind my back to embarrass me, I don't think I need to say much, do I? Lu Qianqian said the ugly words first to prevent her uncles from playing any tricks. Don't worry, eldest Mississippi. If the uncles of Lu Holdings do anything to harm the interests of Lu Holdings, we, the shareholders, will not agree to it. That's good. I will officially announce the inauguration in 5 days. The shareholders must have thought that they were crazy to trust a little girl, who was still wet behind the ears. But perhaps it was because of her genes. They could see Papa Lu's decisiveness in her. It really made them want to believe her. After the board meeting was over, the shareholders of Zhongting stood up and said to Lu Qianqian, I hope you won't let Chief Sheng down, Chairman Lu. Please tell Chief Sheng that I will definitely give him a satisfactory answer. Lu Qianqian shook hands with the people of Zhongting. Right now, Lu Qianqian's face looked young and tender, but her tone and demeanor already had the posture of a decision maker. The people of Zhongting were pleased and turned to leave, while Lu Qianqian took a deep breath. But there were still many difficulties for her to be the chairman of Lu Holdings. Old Master Lin was downstairs in the Lu conglomerate because he really wanted to know what kind of connections his grandson had used to get the girl he had planted in the police academy to leave. And he actually didn't know the result until today. And it seemed even more difficult for him to ask the police academy about Lin Muin. It was true that Lu Qianqian was about to become the chairman of the board, but she had just lost her father. It was impossible for her to interfere with Lin Muin's affairs in the police academy. So how did Lin Muin do it? Old Master Lin looked at the Lu Corporation's building, and the indignation in his heart intensified. In the beginning, he had thought that Lin Muin was joking with him. After going to the police academy to train for a period of time, he would naturally return to the Lin family when he couldn't take the hardship. He didn't need to use any vicious schemes to force him. However, after such a long time, Lin Muin was still thriving in the police academy without relying on the Lin family's background. More importantly, his relationship with Lu Qianqian had become even more intimate. It would be even more difficult to separate them in the future, wouldn't it? Let's go. The old master looked at the gate of Lu Enterprises and then ordered the driver. This girl, could it be that she really wanted to force him to take the path of no return? Lu Qianqian was naturally happy that she had passed the board meeting. When she got home, she texted Lin Muin. When Lin Muin saw the message, he was very pleased. He trained even harder. My girl is so capable. Muin, let's do our best. Wait for me. He was determined to charge to the front lines to gain merit. Of course, he needed someone to guide him, and Sheng Zhao's most important task was to give him a bright path. At this moment in the Sheng family, it was late at night. When Sheng Kai returned home from Huangyao, he saw Gu Xiling leaning on the dressing table in low spirits. In order to comfort his wife, Sheng Kai went forward and hugged her. I already know what happened at home during the day. What's the use of knowing? You can't help me. Gu Xiling broke free from Sheng Kai's embrace. You only know how to follow Grandpa's orders. You don't know how to care about anything else. In the future, we can just ignore third brother's affairs. We just need to take care of ourselves. Sheng Kai comforted his wife. As for that little sister-in-law, you are now in charge of the Sheng family. Are you afraid that you can't find a chance to teach a lesson to a retard? Why do you have to make yourself unhappy for such a thing? Kai, I'm doing this for you and for the both of us. You know Grandpa's temper is volatile. He pampers you today, but he might destroy you tomorrow. If I let third brother and Grandpa get along well, then your career will be threatened. Moreover, he has married the daughter of the Hu family now. Grandpa feels guilty towards him. He even gave him the position of vice president. I'm worried. Sheng Kai couldn't help but laugh. I didn't expect you to be so worried about me. You're still joking. I'm afraid third brother is no match for me. Don't worry about this. Don't forget that he has Sheng Xiao behind him. Gu Xiling sighed uneasily. If Sheng Xiao interferes, or if Sheng Xiao uses him, can you handle it? What kind of power does Sheng Xiao have now? His status is no longer what it used to be. If he moves his fingers and makes things difficult for Huang Yao, I'm afraid you'll be busy for 3 months. Sheng Kai had never thought about this. Don't worry. I will take the initiative in Huang Yao. Although I sympathize with third brother, it's his choice to marry a retard. Sheng Kai promised Gu Xiling. I won't let anyone change our current position in the Sheng family. Tomorrow, I must teach that retard a lesson. Otherwise, I won't be able to swallow my anger. Chapter 480. Although he did not want to admit it, there were some things that had changed. For example, Sheng Kai and Sheng Xiao. The reason why Sheng Xiao was willing to intervene in the affairs of every family was because he knew how great the influence these hidden forces would have on the future of Jianchuan. Although Lin Muin was just a student now, he was a smart person. If you gave him a step to climb, he would expand his territory in his own field. As for the Lu family, although Qi'er was one of the reasons why he helped Lu Qianqian, it was also a way out for himself and Xiao Qi. A big tree would always attract the jealousy of others, and if there was a time when he could not do well, he would not die without a burial place. Lu Qianqian and Mu Qiqi spoke on the phone. The matter of the board meeting was passed safely. Lin Muin also called. He was ready to propose to Lu Qianqian, so he asked Mu Qiqi for help. He wanted to give Lu Qianqian a surprise. Seeing that the two would soon have a result, Muchichi could not help but be happy for her good friend. It was already 10 o'clock at night, and she was still outside with Feng Shanshan, examining the corpse they had just found in the jungle. That's great. We were supposed to go out for karaoke, but it seems that we have to dedicate the good time to the beautiful suburbs tonight. What about you? Your crown prince can't see you. Aren't you worried? Muchichi squatted beside the corpse, examining the wound as she answered Feng Shanshan. I miss that perfect inverted triangle body too. It's so comfortable to hug a man to sleep at home. Also, I heard that you have been very close to a senior in the medical faculty recently. Is there anything new? What new? How long has it been since the scumbag incident? Feng Shanshan snorted coldly. Muchichi wanted to laugh at Feng Shanshan, but when she and the other forensic doctors turned the corpse over, everyone screamed. Even the forensics professor, who was very experienced, had never seen such a case. Chi-Chi Shanshan stepped back. Their legs turned to jelly, and they quickly stepped back. Then, they lay on a tree by the road and began to vomit. After a while, Su-Che drove over, and Sheng Xiao personally came to pick Muchichi up. But when he saw the little one's pale face, he could not help hugging her. What's wrong? Let's go home first, Muchichi said sadly. Feng Shanshan was also picked up by her roommates. Soon the car drove into the villa. Su-Che got off work and went to rest, but Muchichi vomited on the toilet in her own house for over 10 minutes. Seeing that she was lying on the toilet, Sheng Xiao picked her up and put her on the sofa. What happened? It was because he rarely saw Muchichi vomiting because of a dead body. Even if it was a giant's corpse, it was nothing to her. Was she feeling unwell tonight? So he touched Muchichi's forehead. Disgusting. There are also times when you are afraid. Muchichi calmed down in Sheng Xiao's arms. She thought about it, and still had the urge to flush herself into the toilet. No, I think I'm going to get sick tonight. Then, as she wished, Muchichi had a fever in the middle of the night. Sheng Xiao had Su-Che call for the family doctor, and the whole family gathered around Muchichi's bedside. Eighth brother, did you bully Chi-Chi? Sheng Xiao, who was sitting in a corner, cleared his throat and said, I was frightened by the corpse. Mama Sheng grunted and understood instantly. Then take good care of her. I'm going to sleep with your father. I thought you bullied Xiaoqi. Sheng Xiao looked at his parents and frowned. They were the ones who forced their way in, and he did not let them stay with the little one. After a while the doctor left, leaving Sheng Xiao and Muchichi in the room. However, Muchichi kept having nightmares and kept talking in her sleep. Sheng Xiao sighed and went back to her side, holding her in his arms and comforting her carefully. It's okay. I'm by your side. It's okay. Muchichi was sweating all over and twitching a little. For the first time, Sheng Xiao wondered if it was the right choice to let her become a forensic doctor. The next morning, Muchichi opened her eyes in Sheng Xiao's arms and saw the man leaning against the headboard. She suddenly felt sorry. Why don't you lie down? Some people are sweating and talking in their sleep the whole night. How can I sleep peacefully? Sheng Xiao reached out and pinched her cheek. Then I'll call Su-Che for you now. Don't go to the office today. Sleep well at home. Sheng Xiao shook his head and snatched the phone from her hand. No need. There's an important meeting in the morning. Then sleep in the office after the meeting. I'm curious. What did you see that made you so scared? Muchichi touched her hair and answered. That's right. Last night, I found a man's corpse in the jungle. When I turned him over, I saw that his stomach was filled with. Muchichi could not finish her sentence. However, Sheng Xiao had a general idea why she was scared. You're not allowed to enter the forensics lab for 3 days. Sheng Xiao gave her an order. Next time, I'll throw you out directly so that you won't embarrass me. Muchichi hugged Sheng Xiao and rubbed against him. Promise me that you'll rest today. Sheng Xiao nodded helplessly. I'll find time. I'll let Su-Che supervise you. In fact, Muchichi still wanted to know about last night's case. But Sheng Xiao did not let her go to the forensics lab. Feng Shanshan's condition should not be much better. But she was not very worried since she was staying with her friend. Later on, she heard that the entire forensics team could not escape the fate of vomiting. So the horrifying scene last night was not because Muchichi was a coward. Hu Ran was thinking about meeting Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi again, because third brother told her that they were legendary figures. In fact, Hu Ran knew it even if third brother did not say it. She could tell from Sheng Xiao's brain that he was smarter than ordinary people, but she had to find a chance to meet them. After breakfast, they had their regular activities for the day. Hu Ran liked the grass field in Sheng Mansion, so she liked to sit or lie on the grass and read comics. It had been the same for the past few days, but today, when Hu Ran sat on the ground, she felt something was wrong. When she got up, third brother's face changed. Why are there glass shards here? The glass shards were emerald green and could not be seen with the naked eye. And when Hu Ran sat down, it naturally cut her clothes and even her skin. Although it was not big, it was extremely sharp. Hu Ran looked behind her. At that moment, she did not seem to feel any pain. Third brother's face was pale. He quickly carried Hu Ran back to the new room. Xiao Ran, lie down first. Let me see if you're hurt, and if it's serious. Huh. Hu Ran blushed. It's on the buttocks. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.